Gala, and an upcoming activity it is working on Gala is Gambians against looted assets looted by Yaya Jammeh and apparently unaccounted for by the borough government, which was founded on the principle of accountability. Kex, how did Gala come about?
Thank you, Uncle Peter. Gala came about when we all had, there was a commission of inquiry that was established after the change of 2016. We feel like there are so many properties that were actually acquired by Jammeh, and the government deemed it necessary to establish what we call a commission of inquiry to establish what belongs to Jammeh and what belongs to the Gambian population. And there was a freezing order that were made, for the assets to be freezed, and automatically they become freezed. They become the properties of the Gambia. They are no more the properties of the Jammeh. Even though I hear people say that they are in the commission of inquiry, like the article itself and so many things are still linking those assets to Jammeh, but the moment there was a freezing order and it was freezed, it's no more the properties of the Jammeh, but it becomes the properties of the Gambia. So this where the National Assembly, the commission was established to tax, to look at those assets and
actually,
also this.
Suppose no, for a moment. Labaga Kex la fengole la moy.
Okay.
Do you mind me playing that for Elfanga Diamondomani?
No, I can listen. Are you on live on Facebook?
Sorry?
Are you on Facebook Live?
No, I'm only here on what's it called? TikTok.
TikTok, okay. Yeah, you can play it. We can listen.
Yeah, it's just one of the co-founders of Gala, and I think this information is so important. There are a lot of issues many along. I think people need to understand what Gala is about. Come example, what their mission tomorrow is. So tomorrow is not like Ikatala. Tomorrow is once and for all. Tomorrow is like, okay, we are giving you demands. This is what we want you to investigate, this one and this one and this one. There are several, there's a long list, okay? And then after that, there will be a national protest, like a follow-up. So if the government did not act, that's when the national protest will come, So I want to play Kek's audio here because he explained a lot of things here.
Okay, yeah, you can play it.
Yeah.
Suppose
but
them
feel free to interject anytime. Then nobody else in our Madi Jobate and other issues.
Ones that they dispose and the ones that can be retained by the states to be an institution or to be an asset to the states in terms of animals and other things also be maintained. So this was what gave birth to the Janneh Commission, and they have done whatever they will do and do the investigations, and reports were prepared and sent to the president. Then few months or few years, then there was a journalist that get up and do an investigation about this issue, and through his Mustafa Kedabo
of the
Republic, and tremendously we thank him for actually doing the right thing. So when he does that, and there was reports that emerge, and we see that what was presented to us as the Janneh Commission report, and it's totally different from the facts that actually happens there. We feel that there was corruption.
The facts as contained in this report by
Mustafa Kedabo. We feel like there was so many corruption, there was so many nepotism, there was so many favorisms, and the assets, in terms of how they were sold. We feel like they were giveaway prices. We found out whereby people who were even part of the Janneh Commissions were the people who were buying these materials for themselves and other things. So we feel that there was no transparency in the whole process. So then Gala people start, few Gambians, concerned Gambians start, talking among themselves that, we cannot just let this one go. This is beyond, this is a generational wealth, and we cannot just sit down and just fold our hands like we didn't have a country, because at the end of the day, the citizens are the last auditors of this country, any country. Yes, we have auditors, but the citizens are the last auditors of this country. That's why we are given the opportunity. If you look at chapter 1 of the Constitution, the government has no other welfare to do but to promote the general welfare of its citizens. And if they fail to do that, the citizens must take over their country and demand for change. That's why every 5 years we go for election to audit those people, whether they have fulfilled their mandate, the contract between them and the Gambian population. And if they don't do that, we have to remove them and put another people into office. So that's auditing. So we feel like something is wrong, and we must not leave this one, because there have been so many commissioners of inquiries or National Assembly inquiries, in terms of the COVID-19 funds, in terms of the GT boards saga, and so many issues that happens in this country. But at the end of the day, they went and cut just. And if you look at even the Constitution and also the Public Order, the Public Finance Act, it is very clear when National Assembly do their investigations and they come with a recommendation that the Inspector General of Police should pick up those things and investigate. And if there is any criminal element, he should make sure that those people are prosecuted for embezzlement of state resources. So we feel like all these things are not going. Then young people discuss among themselves, and we deem it necessary, to come together and demand for answers. And we requested for the full list of the police, who are the buyers, their names, because even the minister was before the National Assembly when he was asked by the people representative, he said based on their privacy, right to privacy, he cannot disclose the names of those who buy. But these people buy the state resources. If you don't want your name to be associated with the state, leave state resources. For us, that's our position. But once you buy that one, you didn't commit any crime. You just heard that government is selling something and you have the money, you go and buy. So there's no crime in it. But he refused deliberately to give those information.
This is the Minister of Justice,
Dawda Jallow. So when he said that to the National Assembly, I thought the National Assembly would have compelled him, because they have the powers to compel him for any information that didn't happen. So we feel like connecting those.
So the National Assembly did not compel him?
No, they didn't compel him. So we connect those two.
Do you have an explanation as to why?
I don't know. For me, I will say that they have failed in their responsibility, because you are there. That's why they said all of us cannot go to the National Assembly. So they said each constituency must have one person who will represent them. If not, all of us will be in the parliament to make sure that where our money goes, we follow it. But we say that it's not ideal for everybody to be there. So they said each constituency have one person to represent you in parliament. And once that person is there, it's represent the whole of Serekunda as the representative. And if he speaks, he speaks on behalf of the entire Serekunda. And these people are demanding that.
For Serekunda, that would be Musacha.
Okay. So likewise Nyamina and other people. So this is why we have 50, because we have the constituency of 53. We said we have 53 of them to be there, and the 5 nominated members make it 58 and other things. So this is why we have those things. So if those people demand anything, they are not speaking on behalf of themselves, but they are speaking on behalf of the entire population of the Gambia. So, and the role of the government is to promote the general welfare of its citizens, and the citizens has the right to demand for any information that they want, unless it's infringed on the fundamental rights. But here, there is no fundamental right that is. But even there is fundamental. There are events where government compel people, to go and even search somebody's house and even compel you to medical examination if you have a certain. And you're fundamental. Nobody should compel you for any examination. But if you have a disease that can spread all over the country, those fundamental rights, or those rights are now been set aside, because it's general interest. So when it has to deal with general interest, those rights are been set aside. So we feel like this information. So when we connected Mustafa's publication with some of the engagement with the minister in terms of this asset, we feel that there is something that the government is hiding. And how do we do that? Then we must come out and demand answers. So that's why a few people discuss. And when we discuss, we said we are going out and we gather together and discuss the strategies that we will put in place. So it was just a moment that we used, and we gathered, we agree, yes, it is necessary. Then we gather, discuss, and we write a request to the Inspector General of Police to seek for permit as requirement. And we went there, they deny us permit, and we feel like, okay, the Inspector General of Police doesn't have any right to deny us. The whole issue of writing to the Inspector General of Police is just to notify him. But we have the right, guarantee on Section 25 of the Constitution, that we have the right to assemble, and we have the right to call on our government. So we said, either permit or no permit, we are going out. So when we went out, on that very day, on the 8th of May, we went to demand for the full release of the assets, the names of those who buy it, also the disclosure of the entire assets, how many assets were identified by the Janneh Commission, who were the buyers, how was the process, how was the valuation, who were involved, who is who. We wanted to know all those things, and we said government must also make sure that after the investigation, those who are found wanting to be prosecuted, because this amount, and those who things that they have bought and they didn't worth value for it money must be retrieved by the government, and make sure that they refund those people and they can be maintained as state assets, because we need those things. You could look at some of the lands that have been sold. Government is still renting, some of their institutions are still renting, and it's costing the taxpayers millions of dollars. How do we avoid all this situation? So we said that no. So when we went out, we were arrested. They said we have a protest without being given permit, and we were taken to various police stations. And the Gambian people feel like we are fighting for the entire population, and there was this mass mobilization in our absence, where we were incarcerated in various police stations on communicados. We were not communicated for 2 days, no family visit, no lawyers visit until the 3rd day. So all these things that we see, Gambians were out, on the street demanding our release, and unfortunately government subdued to the demands of the Gambian population. So we said, okay, now this is the moment that we have built. Now we need to move from a moment to a movement, whereby we'll make sure that this trend continues. We might be the ones who started it, but we might not be here next 10, 20 years to go. But if we build an institution, this will be here forever. Generations that are coming, we make sure, because we owe it to our next generation that are coming, to make sure that we have a Gambia that is corrupt-free, because for far too long, corruption has melted this country, and this is why we cannot, monies that are going into individuals' pocket is more than the money that is going into the state coffers. And we have seen creation of so many accounts, and even those accounts that are not accepted by our rules and regulation in this country, that every revenue of the state must be in the consolidated revenue of the state. But we have seen special accounts created where monies of the state have been there. We don't know who is, and the accountant general should be the custodians of every government account, but these are people have been custodians of certain accounts in this country. So we feel like this is why we are moving now away from a movement. So whilst we are onto those preparations to build Gala as an institution, have an interim leadership that we selected, to be there, and when we go for our citizen convergence, we will call the Gambian population to say, this is our property. All of us who believe that, we must stand for our country and fight corruption, we fight against disregards to rules and regulations of this country, because we are very good in drafting laws in this country. But, when we draft laws, we are the very people who will violate those laws. We don't have regards for those laws, and you cannot have a country where laws are not respected. Then that's mean that we are in a jungle. So we said that we must build those institutions that will hold people accountable, that are interested with the affairs of the country. So whilst we are building those things, there's issues start emerging from the oil scandal. That was the Russian oil that came into this country. The whole amount of the oil was sold in this country. No tax was paid to GRA. Nothing was done. The procedures of even giving those people the legal standing for them to come and operate in this country from GPPA, requirements were not met. Even the bank, central bank, went and created account, allow those people to open an account, deposit the money that they sell those oils, and they just take away all the money without paying a single budget, and few individuals just pocket some amounts of money, and they left this country. We said this is wrong. So National Assembly do the investigation, and they came with recommendations that...
Just for the record, one of the people that was suspected of earning money from this was the director of petroleum. Allegedly, he was receiving about 600,000 a month.
And allegedly also the first lady is involved in the mess also.
Yeah, the people that are supposedly from the top, the first lady is suspected to be a part of this. Although there is no evidence to prove, but we doubt the transparency. So whatever they are hiding is pointing to somebody at the top, because a lot of people testify that, they have orders coming from the top. So who is at the top? You want to know?
2 ministers were found wanting for actually not doing the right thing, where police will do their investigation. And the police.
So, okay, case is going very fast. But the 2 ministers, Job, Sanneh, his minister, allegedly the one receiving 600,000 a month. The other minister complicit, allegedly, is Minister of Interior, because now he is Interior, but he was the Inspector General of Police at the time. So he was the one who called the guys to release the Slovenian guy. Was it Slovenia? The Eastern European guy who came in the Gambia and was part of this whole thing. So that guy, he literally set a record in the Gambia. Instead of being arrested by the police and his statement taken from him, he was given a form to fill in. Like, he literally said he wasn't going to comply with the police. He wasn't going to give them statement or anything. So they gave him a form, like preferential treatment, if you wish. And that's how I can describe it. So it was really, really bad interaction. And at the end of the day, the guy left the country, and now I think he's at large.
Police will say that stop the investigation because, the person has been, allegedly corrupt, to make sure that those things, so where ministers give orders, or provide documents that we are not actually in line with the procedures that this were approved by the parliament, so that those people will deposit their fuel here and sell it in our depot, where we found Mandirarin depot that is meant for all these oil enterprises to store their oil there, was given to only one people, just those Russian people to store their oil there, so that they will sell it and they go. So, and which...
Okay, so that Russian oil also, when they brought it in, it was of a very bad quality. The quality was not good. I don't know if they deliberately diluted it. It was giving a lot of problem to people. So
I heard they were trying to sell it in different markets, and they couldn't sell it in the different markets. So they tried to sell it in Ghana, and the Ghana connected them to the petroleum person in the Gambia. But the oil was already bad. They couldn't sell it.
Yeah, so a Ghanaian guy was actually involved, but the Ghanaian guy left. Allegedly, he survived an attempt because they wanted to take care of him, because he was the intermediary between them, because they approached him to take the business to his country. He could not facilitate anything for them there, but then he was able to find connection in the Gambia. So when he came, they had to remove him as the intermediary to have direct connection with these people, because as an intermediary, he was also earning a lot. So that's how greedy these people are. So he's one of the people who made this whole thing like come out. You understand? That's what they suspect. So because they took him out, he was angry, and then he started speaking out, and then something's leaked out to the public. That's when the investigation started. But what I wanted to say about the quality of oil is that the quality of oil at that time, because I've been there, you will not believe it, but I was a victim of this. At the time I was in the country, you know, yes, we bought a lot of bad fuel in the country. If you, okay, in Gambia, if you want good quality fuel at the time, it is only GNPC. The rest, if you go there, you buy fuel, likely if you have a car that is very sensitive to this fuel quality, like something really bad is going to happen to your engine. And for me, surprisingly, I just had, all I needed to do was, my mechanic helped me to just clean my tank. We put in a normal fuel from GNPC, that was it. The problem was solved. And I was struggling, my car would not start, literally. So what they did was, they were selling this bad quality fuel, they put it in our depot. They denied Jar Oil and all these other companies that are registered in the Gambia from, you know, having their, bringing in their fuel. So their containers were stuck at the ports. They couldn't bring in their normal fuel that we used to sell in the country. So we literally were stuck with bad quality fuel from Russia. And then they sold it without paying tax. And even the central bank helped them. Kex is going to talk about that as well. Let's listen.
It's a state where Jar Oil and other companies, all this oil business should store there. They have their boats waiting. They cannot even depot in Mandinaring, which is a state resource, giving it to somebody who doesn't even have the legal requirements. So we said, okay, when we look at the reports and find out, also, we say, okay, there is a report. There's no National Assembly. The committee has prepared the report, but the report must be adopted for it to become a legal instrument. So let's wait until it is adopted by the parliament. So the parliament now finally adopted it, and they came with recommendation. We said, okay, this recommendation, if you allow it like this, these are state ministers, they might not act on it. Let's demand and say that the people, these people must act on those recommendations, and failure to do that, we'll give them period of time. We'll have a national protest whereby we will not go home until those recommendations are accepted. But for now, let's write to them that these are our demands. So
yeah, you know, we all say Barrow government is corrupt, Barrow government is corrupt. The fact of the matter is, there are several cases that have been investigated thoroughly. But the thing is, they don't act on it. So that's where the real problem is right now. So this matter, after being investigated, despite we don't know who is at the top over there, like some people will speculate it's the first lady or whoever, or maybe Barrow himself, I don't even know. And that's what you get if you don't, you know, add transparency to your game. People can speculate and bring up any name, and you're gonna blame them. So as that is going on here,
so that's how we came together to look at some of the pending issues that were happening from the COVID-19 fund. We know that there were a huge amount of money that was pumped into this country during the COVID-19 time. But after that, there was an investigation by the parliamentary in terms of how the funds were utilized. Whether they were
so the report is adopted. You understand? The report is adopted, and by law, when the report is adopted by the National Assembly, that means the police should act. So even as we speak, nothing happens. So this is what Gala is about. There was an investigation by the National Assembly, and they come up with a report, they voted on it, and it's approved. And now it is the duty of the police to act, to make sure that those who are found culpable or suspected to have been involved in some sort of corruption in one way or the other, to be prosecuted. So that's where we are now. So that's why Gala is out to say, we want you to identify these people, because they have already been mentioned in the recommendation of the National Assembly, which has been adopted. And in this case, it should be seen as binding on the government to prosecute the people who are involved in this. So we have, this is just one. We have many other corruption scandals that have been investigated by even the National Assembly. But the problem, Binta, is in Gambia, corruption is like cancer. I really want Barrow's government to be ousted in some sort of protest. And I have a reason for it. Because the corruption is so systemic. Can you imagine how credible is the National Assembly when we know that the National Assembly itself is involved in two major corruption scandals? One was the Pajero. That is outdated. People, we have talked about that a lot. But do you guys even know that there's a special report, a special audit report that went after the National Assembly, and they found out that some of the National Assembly members actually connived among themselves to embezzle the money that was meant for their constituents. This is a fact. and it's a matter of public record. There's a special audit report that revealed corruption among the National Assembly members themselves. So, you know, as National Assembly members, every year they allocate money to them. A lot of money, by the way, to go take it back to their constituency. They call it constituency allowance. To take it back to their constituency for development and stuff like that. They pocketed that money themselves, among themselves. I can even say more than this. I can be specific on what exactly some of them, you know, they connive, like a few of them, they did certain things with it. So this is the level of corruption that we have in this government. So even this Gala thing that the Jammeh assets that are being investigated at the National Assembly, I don't want to prejudice it, but what do you expect to come out of such an investigation when it is being investigated by people who are alleged to have been, you know, have embezzled money that was given to them to take back to their own constituency? Those are the people who will investigate the corrupt people. Gambia, like, we are at a very, very serious position.
Yeah, they're not.
Sorry?
No, I say, yeah, they're obviously not going to do nothing. They're all corrupt.
Yeah, that's why I think there should be a national protest wherein Barrow's government will be like, we need to take this government down. Nothing can happen under these circumstances. Like almost everything is, every part of the system is corrupt. Every part of the system is corrupt.
Of the Gambian population. We found out that the recommendation of the National Assembly report shows that there were so many mismanagement of public funds there were. So we said, okay, let's put all these things together now. Because if you want to protest, like every corruption in this country, every day we'll protest, because every day protests happen. So let's put everything together. So we look at some of the issues. We look at the GFA, you know, the millions that have been pumped by CAF, GFA in terms of development of sports.
Even in the sports.
Yeah, absolutely. We said.
Okay, so you see, GFA, CAF gives them money every year, and they mess it up. They take the money, you know, Lamin Kababajo and his crew. Me, I mentioned them. I don't even care, because Lamin Kababajo, I really cannot stand that Kotoke. I don't know why he's still serving. Okay? These are very corrupt people. They receive the subvention from FIFA every year, and they do nada. Go to the provinces. They have, you know, football fields, projects. A lot of projects that they have started, they are not even able to complete it. We have a massive corruption problem in that country. So one of the things that I'm particularly happy for about Gala is the fact that they decided to include the GFA in this whole thing. The Gambia Football Association is corrupt to the core. This needs to be said out loud. The Gambia Football Association is very, very, very corrupt. Imagine, how do you explain to me, like, Lamin Jassy, one of the corrupt elements there, actually, left the United Kingdom and went to stay in Gambia to do a job where the salary is less than let's say $800, $600. Why do you think he's comfortable sitting there? No wonder they are building mansions. These are thieves. These are the people who built a toilet for $500,000 many years ago. They are still on it. They are still stealing money from us, the Gambia Football Association. And Bakari Baji, you know, when Bakari was appointed, that's why I told Bakari and they thought it was like a political, you know, my utterances were guided by my political affiliation. But it had nothing to do with that. Bakari Baji cannot deal with the corruption in that place. You see, when these kids are under 16 guys, you know, 3 days ago, had an accident because they were traveling by road, imagine, by road to Janneh Commission. They had an accident and they had to take a private jet to fly them back to the Gambia. Imagine that. How much money did we spend on a private jet to go and bring our young boys from Guinea on their way, I don't know, somewhere in Casamance or Guinea, to bring them back to the Gambia? But 14 National Assembly members last year, April, 14 flew directly from Gambia to Guinea-Bissau. You know what they went to do? To investigate some corruption shit that happened in our embassy. Even our embassies abroad, those people also, allegedly what they did was, they took a lot of money to build a house within our embassy. An amount that was outrageously exceed the amount that a reasonable person should spend on that particular construction. So they believe, the Gambia government, I believe the auditors signaled that some sort of corruption and embezzlement happened in Guinea-Bissau embassy. So the National Assembly members, instead of even asking for photos, pictures, and videos, or probably send 1 or 2 National Assembly members there, 14 of them went. 14. They flew. They didn't go by land. So now, how do you explain to me that our kids that are going to represent the country are traveling to Guinea, Conakry? They take them by what? By car. They catered a bus for them. They got a bus for them to travel to transport them to Guinea Conakry. So that the country is sick. If Gambia is a person, I would say is sick. It's having a cancer.
Okay, let's bring everything down. Once we bring everything, we protest. Now, those who are interested in sport will now follow up from where we stop. Those who are interested in health sectors will look at the activities on the health sectors. So Gala will be the umbrella body that will look at other issues. So that's why we started. We look at the GFA, and we said we're going to protest against those. And we look at the GT board's finding in terms of the ecologies that has to be built here. There was a petition before the National Assembly that the whole procurement authority and even the bidding process and everything was done wrongly, and the minister was invited, and the National Assembly concluded that there were corruptions and there was no disregard of all the financial requirements, and also even the bidding process and everything was done wrongly. We said, okay, let's pick up all this. And so we gather all those corrupt issues here, and we write to the Inspector General of Police that we want to protest on the 22nd July for the demand for an answer from the government. So this is how we came with the protest that we are planning. But unfortunately now, it's instead of 22nd July, it is 23rd July.
Okay, yeah. So it's going to happen on the 23rd, not on the 22nd?
Yes, because when we write the application, we were invited by the police authority to sit down with them, and as an institution, so we sit out of respect. We had discussions in regards to how do we intend to do our protest, and we give them what was the necessity for us to do this. And they also give us their security intelligence in terms of July 22nd being a Black Day in this country when Jammeh took over on the 22nd July. So they said it's not in the good history of this country, and also, people can use that as an opportunity because Jammeh is everywhere sending audios.
Jammeh is
sending audios.
In the sense of audios.
Sending audios, mobilizing people to go to the banter bars and other things. So people might use this opportunity, to be part of us, whilst their intention is totally different from our intention. So we look at us. No, we are not confronting government. We want us to have at least an amicable solution for our country. And I think all of them want a Gambia where all of us can beat our chest and say, this is our country. So when we discuss and they give us their reason as matured people, and we know that we are not in a war with them, we said, okay, we will give you this one. And we can accept this one for you, because sensibly what you give, is something that can be understandable.
Absolutely.
So that's why it is moved to the 23rd.
I wouldn't want anything, that would... give the 22nd of July any relevance, anymore.
Absolutely.
What are the conditions of the permit? I mean, I suppose the police will not just give you, an unconditional permission to go there and do whatever you want to do. What are the conditions?
Yeah, the conditions are generally, after the discussion, they also want us to have the protest for 1 hour, which we disagree. We said we are not going to have it for 1 hour.
1 hour?
Yeah, so we disagree until we agree on 3 hours. They also want us to go to Kamalo at that bush end there to do our protest there. We said, no, we are not hiding anywhere. We are not going to the bush to protest. We are protesting in the middle of the Gambia, so we agree that we're going to hold it at Westfield. So they said we cannot use the highway. We disagree. We said we are using the highway. They said ambulance are coming, from Birikama taking transport. We said yes, but we are starting from Iceman and walking up to Westfield, then take a U-turn to the church end, and go to the monument and give our speech and other things. So there was disagreement, but we end up agreeing that yes, that's where we will hold it. So we are starting the march from Iceman, then walking towards Westfield, then take a roundabout at the U-turn, then going to the church and to the other.
So the police try to take the protest away from public view as much as they can.
They can, but we stood on our ground. We disagree, and that we are going to hold it at Westfield, and that's where we identify, and we are not moving. So we discuss until they agree. So that's how we. So they put conditions. They give us appeal. They put conditions there. We must abide by the rules and the regulations that we should not use any foul language or abusive language, which we are very responsible people that we will not do, because that's not what.
Obinda, what do you think? The police, again, you see, as they are giving their permit, even life meant blood.
No, I'm just my desktop. But go, what happened?
Okay, the police are saying, okay, you are not following. No, I don't want to. I just wanted to ask you, because alleging parental insult and all this kind of insult regulation, I don't know what you think about the police trying to regulate what the Gala people are doing. They say they're trying to tell them that as they protest, they should be mindful of their language, let them not cuss out. And let's complete this part. You hear Peter is going to raise a very important question there.
what was the intention
Yeah,
for us.
but in this country, what is foul language? It depends on who is. I mean, to some people, if you say silly, silly is a foul language. It's a foul word for them.
Absolutely.
It's not for me.
Not.
Maybe not for you. But for
somebody,
especially they're powerful. What if you use, silly with the?
Yeah, I just think these people need to relax about this whole effort of trying to regulate how people speak. Like insult, yeah, I don't think insult is necessary in many instances. But if you want to regulate what people say, it is always going to bring problem. That's just my opinion. I think if you want to regulate what people are going to say, especially as a government authority, you want to tell people this is what they need to say, this is what they don't need to say. It complicates matters, I think. Because maybe people like Binda will end up violating something.
Well, yeah, the law is that no parent insult, right? So there's no parent insult. So they have a right to say Arambara Ikonaba, Arambara G Kumba, Buka Fendema Fendo.
That's exactly what Peter is trying to say. Like if you say, because when they had a meeting, he was talking about, in the context is they were having a meeting with the police about the permit, and the police were like, okay, you don't have to curse, you don't have to use foul language and all that. But then Peter is like, okay, what is foul language or cause for you, because it's subjective. Somebody might see it this way, somebody might see it that way. Something that is acceptable to you is not acceptable to me, vice versa. So I think they should just give up on this whole effort of trying to regulate or watch people's mouth. I mean, damn it, man.
President and then president say, oh no, I can't accept silly.
Absolutely. So they bring those conditions. They said, we cannot be using abusive language and those foul language. Also, we must confine ourselves within the territory that was given to us, that we cannot go like you said, okay, Westfield, that's what we have designed. So you see other people at the black market in Serekunda, protesting and other things. Those are issues that we cannot, since we said we're Westfield, all of us must converge at Westfield and do our protest there, which we actually accepted. And they said we must respect the time frame. Immediately after the 3 hours is complete, we should make sure that we all.
When does the 3 hours begin?
We are starting at 11 o'clock, 12, 1, 2. Okay. Then we should be actually done at that place. So they said we should.
You want to say something?
You see how they're trying to control them, even trying to give them a time frame. Talk about you have to be. That's why when I heard the protest, I'm like 3 hours is short. Like, bro, these government go. You cannot put money up. People have a right to protest there, whether it's 3 o'clock or 8 o'clock. The only law is you cannot have a big mic screaming. That's the law. Don't be screaming, and you can't go one corner to another corner, but you can relax in one spot and protest.
Yeah, they should just mind their business.
Also confine ourselves with the time that was approved. We said, okay, we will definitely do that, and we hand over our petition to the people, and we dispatch peacefully. We said we will definitely do that. So these are a few things that they said. In event we violated, people who were scream or the leadership will be called for questioning and ask them why, and if there's any necessary step, they will. We say we will confine ourselves within the parameters of the permits that you have given us. Yeah.
So apart from marching from Iceman to the monument and handing over your protest, is it going to be one protest or several protests?
Yeah, we are writing to all the institutions that are affected. Like we will send our demands to the GFA, like the ones that is affecting the sport department, the ones that is affecting the Ministry of Health in terms of the COVID fund. We will also make sure that we put it there.
Okay.
There's another one that will be sent to the general, that's the general legal advisor of the president, that's the Ministry of Justice. So there will be, that will contain all the demands that we want. And since he is the legal advisor of the government, he will advise the government in terms of what is our demand, and we will have a time frame to. It's not just going to be a demand and just everybody go and sleep. Now we want to demand and give a time frame that they must act on all those things, and failure to act on those things, we might request for another permit. And this time around, it's going to be a nationwide protest. It's not just going to be confined within the Greater Banjul area, because Gala 2 is now trying to decentralize the whole Gala itself. We have our regional coordinators in the whole regions. We had a meeting with all the coordinators in all the 7 regions in this country to make sure that this is a property of the Gambia. We might started it, but we want every Gambian to see themselves, and even President Barrow, if he feels that he's against corruption, he's invited to be a member of Gala, so that we all fight against corruption, because it's melting this country and it's definitely killing the country.
Okay, talking about political leadership, just off my head, the ones that I can remember, Yankuba Dabo, Talib, Landing Sanneh, Babukar Siddiq Jammeh from Brikama Area Council. All these people have posted that they are, they have posted. We have seen flyers of them on the Gala. What is it called? The Gala flyer. We have seen pictures of them on Gala flyer. So I don't know who is going, who is not going, but just to show solidarity, just so you know, there is a picture of Talib, Yankuba, Landing, Babukar Siddiq, and others. They said they are all in support of Gala. So I think it is time for everybody to join. So that's why when I see my fellow youth in the comment section here in online, from the get-go, like, trust me, bro, we have the country at heart. If you try to fight against Gala, you are not for country. I'm telling you, we have to, we must fight against corruption. And it's only a united effort that can do that. Not when we are divided. That's exactly what the government wants us to, be like. They want to see a divided opposition. They want to see a divided, independent group in the country. They don't want any kind of united force. A united force is what can dislodge them from power. So they definitely don't want us to be united.
And the future generation cannot inherit the Gambia that we have inherited. And this is why we emerge as young people to make sure that we put the country on a sound footing so that the next generation will beat their chest and say that I am from the Gambia and I'm proud of the Gambia.
And if President Barrow wanted to become a member of Gala, how, what would he be required to do? Write an application? Or just make a public declaration?
Yeah, just publicly say that I'm interested in Gala, what they are fighting for. I feel that this is our collective fight. And, according to his statement, when he addressed the nation, he said that he will make sure that those who are found wanting in corruption is fighting against corruption. And that's what Gala stands for. So I believe that President Barrow is a member of Gala. So let him just announce that he's part of us. And if it is necessary, let him come and join us. Because we have seen it in other parts. It's only in the Gambia here where ministers will hold themselves. But I have seen in other parts of the world where issues that are affecting the city, you will see a state minister will come and join them. I said, this issue is affecting me. I'm part of you people and you come and join you people. But here, as far as you as the state, they feel like protest is another thing. How do we perceive protest? But it's not. It's just to tell people that this is your responsibility and you are feeling we are protesting to alarm you that this is what you should do.
And when the police say, they will provide security, I mean, do you believe the police are there for your own security or to control the protest?
Yeah, normally that's what you said, but the language or the drafters of the Constitution, when they drafted this, they said when you write a permit, you are notifying the police so that the police will be there to provide security for them. The drafters of the Constitution were clear in their mind in terms of what should be done, and that is to provide security for us so that there will be no, because sometimes you might protest and there are people that you are protesting against, might feel let's counter protest these people, so they might come and try to create problems so that they will use those things. So the police are there to make sure that they safeguard us because they have already given us a legal document that says that we have the right to go and protest. And once that is done, they must now, we are under their control within that period to make sure that our safety and everything and our protest is done. That's how it should be done. But, because of the quasi nature of our security apparatus in this country, and I think we have to move away from those things. That's why I always tell people that even this police force, is more of a coercive language to say force. When you said for, we could say a police service, you know that you are there to render service to the citizens, but not a force on the citizens. All these things, nomenclatures has to change, for them to see themselves that they are here to protect the lives and the properties of the Gambian people. But because of the coercive nature of our securities, when there is crowd issues, they come more with force rather than to render service to the citizens and make sure that their lives and make sure that we are safe and we do our protest in a peaceful manner, to protect us rather than just to be there to look at whether we will do certain things and they use that opportunity to crumb on us. At the end of the day, we are all citizens in this country and we might be protesting for those in the uniform because there are so many things that are happening. If those monies that are going into individual pocket, if they are channeled into the right, maybe their salaries and other service will be rendered to them. But why they are not? Because it's going to individual pockets.
And in 2 minutes, just to remind people about the importance of this upcoming protest march and a call to action perhaps from you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we came with an idea to set the Gambian population. This is not only about Gala, as you can see. This is affecting our whole, this is our collective issue that the country is actually, there are monies. You pay tax, you didn't just pay tax for few individual to go and put the money in their pocket. You pay tax so that it will come back in a form of a service to you people. And this is what is not happening. That's why when you go to our health centers, majority of the medicines that will be prescribed to you, you end up buying them in the pharmacy, in a private clinic, rather than government providing those medicines for you. And you are not just paying your tax, to go back and go and pay these people. You see patients that you will know that they will go to the hospital and they need overseas treatment, but they cannot afford to have those things because it's not available in our country. So they go and wait for their time when God times will come and call for them because they cannot afford to go even Senegal here for an overseas treatment. And this is why you have a government. This is why you pay your tax to government to provide those services for you. And any government that fails to provide this service for their citizens is not fit to govern. This is the whole issue. So if you cannot do certain things, we say that this is a call to make sure that we put an end to those things so that young people can go to school and have an enable environment where books and materials will be available for the students to learn. Young people that are coming from our school system job employment will be created for them. But you look at our public enterprises that are designed to create employment and pay dividend to government are even now collapsing. They are even going to the government to bail them out. Because I could remember I was in parliament when one of the public enterprises came to the parliament and seeking for the parliament to government to approve so that government will take some money to bail them out. And these are institutions that are designed, to create.
Would that be Gamtel?
Yeah, that would NAWEC was part of it. Gamtel was part of it. They came to the assembly that they are almost collapsing, budget collapsing, and this is a state institution to
NAWEC has to be given money all the time.
All the time.
Otherwise,
but these people, we are paying cash power, we are paying service to them. So these people should be paying dividend to government.
Absolutely.
Creating employment. But that's not the reality in this country. NAWEC is almost Gamtel is almost on privatization. They are trying to privatize NAWEC. These are state institutions. Why can't we have this institution running, creating employment for them? Well, because of things that were happening. We say that's why we said every Gambian population, what we are fighting for, it's our collective interest. What we are fighting for is affect every part of, because these are the people that determine the type of health system we have, the type of education system we have.
So Binda, I think enough with the thing. We have 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, let's go to let's have a convo. So
but I just want to buttress it a little bit. NAWEC class struggle is real, and it is mind blowing that NAWEC NAWEC and electricity provider, they are all they always at the National Assembly begging, and also the other institution is Gamtel. Gamtel apparently. I think Gamtel also should be bringing in money, because a lot of institutions, all these GSM companies are paying money to Gamtel. Gamtel make is like a lot of money. As a parent company, they own Gamcel. They have Gamtel is one of the oldest parastatals in the country right now. Like, how is it even possible? Like, Gamtel Baboy Kura, I cannot even understand it. But do you have something to say about the Gala thing?
I just need people to go support, and I know the Borough Must Go team, they're doing a fundraiser. So if anybody want to go in their platform and raise funds, you're more than welcome to. I know that you wanted to let's talk about Mari Jubate versus right. Let me quickly, should I change now? Let's keep the sticker. I'm gonna keep the protest, it's fine. I don't have a problem with the speech. I don't. Because the way I look at it is, Yankuba is talking about Baba putting Daba in office. And the 2021 election, 2021 election, a lot of Gambians believe that the election was rigged, right? And we're gonna believe that Adam Barra is gonna try to rig it again. So I think pretty much all Yankuba is saying is that, bro, like we're not accepting corruption. Like, the power to the people decide, and we can't be punks out here. So I don't know that.
He even alluded to people's power, and the thing is, this was not like a speech that is centered on inflammation of for example, when lawyer Dabo land supposedly I didn't land mention Drimbaro la faka attack. He even said prior, this day I'm going to come after him and I will attack him. So he planned that day that is going to be a very central part of his speech on that day. So another because that was a bombshell, but also it was premeditated. But this was nothing like that. This was just UDP having grassroots. It's not even meant to have a lot of national coverage. Yeah, it is just like a grassroots meeting. So he said it right before he dropped the mic, right at the end of his speech. So this was not even central. But if you look at his speech about of course NPP will not be happy with that. In fact, that the government is struggling. Simply because it moved from 50 billion to 150 bank for 100 for 200 bank, something like that. Like exponential rise in our deficit. Gambia. So these are the things that Yankuba has been highlighting. Ala diamo nyingo nante diam flow ngebe cover extensively, ngebe kundum kunduna del with them ngebe lamoyle. Blati jama mel It was very policy centered, criticizing the government, ila approach, ila policy. Those were the most important parts of it, of the speech. So, but Madi could not pick up anything. Yeah, I don't think that. The thing is, we have to understand one thing. Some things that work in the West will not work for us. You understand? Yeah, yeah, I don't know copy paste ka work there. Because in as much as atola banko ila origin mu Janneh itol labantala, you understand? But yeah, itole sembos economic growth itole sembos on European already. At the time, European development on stage member coming after the World War II, you understand? American all less symbols, but bring American all Natananja, ye mem ta wala ni ko okay, to lafta mena lafa security la. Lafta jela nga tenkun non na bango kang Russia kana ikudu non ne komen ka na bango killing ta fuka jambeta because ngajela jamano de menke ngajela Russia fana menke no understand it. So they came up with an idea. They said NATO letal. So but bring security sort of wrong. Adanda jel. European side they have security. Yalong ko nimwe attack in American they will fight soldier to soldier. Ko mari fana attack. So now yela own system all less to being internet we talk about healthcare. It be memfolante healthcare la kuro. I didn't be memful about healthcare. It's completely different. But at the end of the day, the objective is the same. Healthcare, is just an insurance. Insurance ko lam dron pour ka je ko nin sasara nga kanata ikanam bulanga ta si sokono sasa itara na mamfan jarano because of kodotem alam nato be mol but at the end of the day the methodology is different. So ndola ni models, especially some of us who are educated here in the West, especially many along go karanta sokono na janga tertiary education kala ku fam mulun kala anaja me foka wala nyiko the context madi be mem foka den. Yes, let's be reasonable here. Is what you will expect from some of the activists many along go, they are trying to appease or appeal to a certain base, let's say a Western audience. But other than that, he's just trying to be Western, Western culture and democracy and politics on the like a whiny little, progressive fool, because he's trying to make something big out of something Mayalonko is irrelevant. Nimedia mola drang ako Benabawa Samala State House le nga dundi. Lawyer ko jane do or die. But Adam Barola ministers literally said ko blood. Ako na jarete be blood bon. Ebe blood bonal. Baro last week biraka diama kon to le ko be kukelala. Ako wala na nga dinol jebe siri ba fale fay ko barote lola be kukela bar be kukelala jak. Birawo, you know what ensued? Jello. They were laughing at it. So you can also more often see that like Kiborota, Akobarola is a threat to the opposition, to the people in the diaspora, to the people in the opposition, So it is not like black and white like that. So Nikobe was some of these Western so-called Western ideology in Gambia, Ikoba apply la. You take I can tell you maybe he regrets some of the things, this statement in a way. Because ate hanada runko, ate feko nyimnala kolman ate believe tamenda when young opinion, maybe he can reach out. You understand? Or naba for ala statement, but I can't for the cover alamuta. Ala arrest. That's not what you expect from Ndela Ubanko Kamol arrest Jammeh or Blado. Madi alone human rights is a problem there. It doesn't matter no matter so mudala. He was sick. Imam Balafai. I genuinely I was very, very mad.
Who is this Mari Jubate? What's his background?
He's a so-called human rights activist, but he's very inconsistent. He's a member of some international organizations. So these are the typical Western links in Africa right now. To be honest with you, as a Pan-African, I can tell you, if the West want to like screw us right now, he's one of our weak links. These are the people.
How? In regards to how?
He's an activist who has a lot of connection with Western foundations and organizations. I can tell you that for free. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, if you want to satisfy, let's say, the Blair Foundation people who are like so-called Human Rights Watch or whatever foundation, I don't know what the Blair Foundation is into, especially in the UK. Thank you, Jaria. Madi is in that. This is not like speculating or something. So if you want to satisfy those people, you want to be seen writing statements like this. But in our Gambian context, what Yankuba said, there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. Usman Sonko did say, man kuma heh dinala heh. If you fight me, I'll fight you. Like a leader saying, I'll fight. Like you can blow that also out of proportion if you want to, and make headlines out of it. But that's not how it works.
You know, when I saw Mari do what he did, the way I look at it is, I feel like there's some people that they have a candidate that they want. So when they see a competition do something, they can't wait to run out and, you know,
And run their mouths.
Huh?
And run their mouths.
Yeah. So for me, I just wish that Yankuba, I just wish he can. There's certain conversation he needs to let go of because he have a lot of ops right now, right? Because, like, for example,
this is the problem in the country. Of course, what you say, there's an element of truth to that, perhaps. It depends on who you ask. But the thing is, let's be factual here. Like, this is not like he went after an individual. If he was against the government, you know, some of these things about
I don't have anything against like what he said. I think I don't have nothing. I'm not against what he said. You know, if they're still in elections and they're doing what they're doing, you know, we have a right to say no. We have a right to say just, you know, power to the people. So, and I think Gambia, we have a generation issue, right? Maybe, I don't know, the elder generation, they're softer, they want things mediocre. The younger generation, it's like, it feels like we want something different. Like, that's why I feel. I feel like the Yankuba and the Isafa team, like, we want a different, like, we're on a different energy.
No, you know, Peter, let me just say something that I said in my video in the daytime. You see, when people say Madi is consistent, this guy that I just mute here, because I'm very transparent with my audience. If you insult, I'm gonna mute you. I'll probably not block you, but I'll mute you. So the guy said Madi is one of the most consistent activists. Madi did say that the government, our election was fair.
2026.
If I don't know you are requesting to join as a co-host, you are not getting accepted. Okay. So Madi said the election was free and fair, but Madi had no problem. He had no problem whatsoever when our election petition was denied. Binda, imagine this, yeah? When we petitioned the government of the Gambia, the IEC and the president at the Supreme Court, they said we did not serve the president. That was the reason. They said we need to serve the president within a set time period. But how could we have served the president if the president don't want to be served? Because before I serve you a letter that the law says I need to give to you in person, you have, you have already, it's your discretion whether or not you want to accept my calls. You can dodge me. You can try all your best not to receive my calls. That's it. That's all you need to do to delay, to add delay to my journey to take to seek legal redress against you. So we could not have proceeded. The UDP folks were frustrated. The court said they needed to serve the president in person or deliver the president to the president's office.
So you guys couldn't find, like, to catch Adam Barra in person, it shouldn't be that hard. Like, you just gotta be sneaky with it.
You need sneaky in person. You know, State House. Have you ever been to State House?
Not like, for example, if he has a rally somewhere, like you can.
No. This was right after election. Rally where? This is the president. If you don't want him to. If you don't want you to see him, you are not going to see him. But let me just add this other part of the story. That is, the letter was delivered to an official at his office. I believe a protocol or one of the junior secretaries, and that person, as he was on duty, it was signed. And officially, that means the president has received it. But that was not sufficient because they wanted to go with the strict interpretation of the law to say, oh, you need to give to the Secretary General or you give to the president himself in person. And the Secretary General, just like the president, was avoiding to be served. As if that is not tricky enough. You know, the other mind-blowing aspect of it is the fact that they said the president was not served, but the president's lawyers came to court. Then how is the president not notified that he has a court case to answer? Why did his lawyer appear in court? if the president was not served.
Yeah.
On the day that that decision was being made, the president's lawyer was there. So it was based on these flimsy grounds that our election petition was thrown out. So when we say the election, there was something wrong. Even if you believe that Adam Barrow won the election, but why did they not want to hear our election petition? That is a legit question.
So Jabate, he didn't. So he thought the 2021 election was fair, which is a big red flag for me.
He's just not a consistent human rights activist. He's just not consistent. Madi is here.
I didn't like I didn't like the thing, honestly. Like, you know, but I feel like Yankuba gotta, but I don't know. But Yankuba is out there. I'm here advocating for him to be president. He out here advocating for Baba to be president. What the fuck confusion in that?
So you know that is the thing. If people want to frame you, Bindaya, you can do everything that you want, but they're still gonna frame you. If they want to frame you, if they want to put a label on you, you can do nothing. Like Birane Mane Duntanyola police all were involved, they think he was confronting the police. He wasn't confronting the police. Mane bota na middle, Mane bota NRL. Mane manke ko yasiga nan silokan NRL about National Road Authority. About na world. So atela National Road Authority. Department me ata bota nanje. Wolel na re experts all di Yankuba because Yankuba la on team ne wala sere bela road construction. Yela silo dada Nana Johnson odula biri yela concrete ni ngal dada parade. Ate na Mane bota officer mento wala ila expert all men ye naraka BSc makoy. Wolel fa ko BSc ko nyin silo ala close moto kana boriji. So ya close moto buka borije. Ani sali nyati ngo bente musol sindakan concrete ko la molga tamaka ne mafo sinatama la ko motol. So wala ne barrier ke but amanke ko men mo buka mol katamile fole sutol katame masimal katame and all that. Mane na mane ko woli o bonde wodula. Ako woli na silo block. Ike ko ndel man silo block alla mol men ne consult birimbe nyen dogola wala ko ngajam block. So imagine that. And something happens out of that. People want to attribute that to Yankuba being aggressive. I love that aggression because Mane should know better. Mane but
I think people we didn't know why he was mad. Like, you know, we didn't know why he was mad. So and then also Yankuba in his interview, right? What he did, remember caring. He said that he talked about the importance of narrative, right? And if you don't tackle it. So I feel like there's this narrative that's going out right now. Yankuba is tribalist, even though we know that's not true. Yankuba is this, right? So I feel like for him to shut down that tribalist conversation and certain things, if I would advise him to stay away from tribal conversation at all costs. Anything tribe, even the statement he made, he have a right to do it. I have a right to say the same thing. But again, I would avoid it a little bit because right now a lot of us want him in leadership. And
this one is not about tribal thing. It's like, you know, they first started with he's an aggressive person. Anyone who dealt with him will tell you like this is not possible. So if somebody that aggressive, if somebody,
no, I think he just keeps it real. Like when someone keeps it real,
if he is as aggressive as they want us to believe, then he wouldn't be having his lawyer license in the UK. He would have committed some silly crime because he's angry and aggressive, and his license would have been revoked by now. But for almost a decade now, he's practicing law as a lawyer who goes to court.
How about the soft ones? These soft niggas, so it's like corruption, I don't know.
No,
so we don't care
about people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that whole he's aggressive. We don't care, bro. Like, give us an aggressive person. We're tired of these soft niggas. Like,
and the irony is here. And when Party and Co came, like when the senior management came from the police, they had a dialogue with him. Did you even see him like speak on top of his voice to them? He was respectful to them. He listened to them, and they had a dialogue. It was very fruitful. That's why last year I said I think Party Jallo, it's fair to say, was the citizen of the country. Party Jallo is underestimated, not just with his encounter with Yankuba, but also when there was land issue in Sukuta. I don't support what the government did there. They did bullshit. They were just protecting Abubakar Jawara. You know, but Party went there to make sure that there was no direct confrontation between the community and the police. And he deployed, he employed the same tactic in Brikama. He was able to have a dialogue with Yankuba and Co. And during that whole thing, yeah, that whole Brikama problem, it was all precipitated by the government's infringement on the council's rights and their powers. Imagine, they said the law says the councils own the market, but the government says otherwise. They have a foolish guy with a title called governor who said he's the one responsible for the market. So, Binta, if you have this, you have a government appointed official who is telling you, I own your market. So when Mane came, Mane displaced a lot of women. He took their stalls, he took them out of their stalls and broke them down and then threw all their materials away. So Yankuba relocated them to a new place. That new place, the governor said Yankuba does not have right to allocate because he controls the market. He said he controls the market. He is the one representing the president in Gambia, in our constitutional setup, the governor represents the president in every region. You understand? So that person, that governor, Bojang, said he's the one responsible for that particular piece of land. So Yankuba cannot give canteens or stalls, market stalls as they call them, to anybody. He cannot allocate it. Yankuba was like, hell no. We are the ones collecting tax from people here. You dislocated, you displaced them, and now we are trying to give them another place. And in that allocation, you know what Yankuba did? Unprecedented. He gave foreigners, the people that they said they want to make people believe that he doesn't like. He gave them a special allocation. He gave a specific number of stalls was dedicated specifically for non-Gambians. He did this.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Exactly. So, it is a narrative, like you said. They are trying to push a certain narrative against him. But Yakuba, as a human rights lawyer, you can never convince him to or connive with him against a minority group. If anything, Yakuba will be the most anti-tribalist tribalist guy that you're going to see because he's a human rights lawyer. Okay. Yeah, Yankuba is a quiet guy. If you don't know him, you just think he's one of those lousy guys, revolutionary. Yes, when he's speaking for people's rights. But Yankuba himself, you can do him a lot of wrongs and he doesn't even damn.
But you guys, I'm going to get off live. How long you about to be on?
Yeah, you can go, no problem.
Okay, I'm finna leave, right?
Yeah, okay, now hold on, call over. Yeah, I changed my number. Okay, no problem. Message on TikTok, then I'm going to message you back. Okay, Binda, baraka back here, man. Yes. So this is the thing. When the Gambians want to frame you, you cannot do nothing. There's nothing that you can do. You can just, and it is sad. Because once you see dolto, and you let's be very honest here. One day, if I will have a very honest opinion on you, if I am able to tell you my honest opinion, I swear to God, yeah, I love certain people, yeah, like certain tribal backgrounds, and they are very, like, imagine what kind of history, like what kind of history of Gambia are you going to have if you say, for example, if you want to take away Fuladu, and who are the co-founders of Fuladu? Imagine how important those people are to our history. Where is it? Tell me, bring me any Nyancho or whoever think you are very, very Gambian. If Fuladu is erased from our history, do we even have a history? For example. So some of these people, they come with bigoted ideas. Like, we will die, we will spill our blood to defend the existence of those people. And even their history, we will spill our blood and put our lives on the line to defend that history and their heritage and their culture. Because it's ours as well. What are they trying to say? So all these tribal insinuations and their foolishness of openly throwing out these tribal allegations is based on nothing. Dalil buka tarebula. Let me shift to explicit mandinga now. Dalil buka tare ka wulila drong kulambali akan dolbiji. I'm sorry, but that's it. Kulambali akan draw. Ite ne ndesi nyisio beke janga buja man sit over. Iteleta RC ko karmu tribal is old. This narrative, I'm not going to say, as somebody who speaks like Yankuba, you need to change your rhetoric. No, because the thing is, people need to understand, if you are accusing somebody of discrimination, You are calling somebody out on discrimination. You need to have explicit evidence, but you should not be insinuating. You should not be insinuating. You need to have a direct evidence connecting that person. Kafo komenka nyinde ay nyineke. Bari kada si nyulbe ndia mo men famo bela okay nyulbe ndia mo men famo bela, that means ite bela own judgment e bola la kanje. Ite man sila kala ni ne ko ni fate bila jahannam. Thank you Fatima. Fata okay ito mbetori lan okay. Fata findo man samuso abaraka ba. This is the thing. They insinuate. Yankuba will fight for minorities. If you look at the list of people that Yankuba can train, akala moto fay Angaltera bula train la, aita e bandi. Prukiti bungo ñu loya kurungo masakunda system kurungo membe Angaltera. Ka fobe sign la weekend okono. Fay amra ko ke manin kol drone. Wala amra ka ke fulul drone wala surwal da malam. Akake mo bele. He doesn't even need to know your name. All you need to know is to get there and make sure that that Gambian brother kobe mambulanda kulunga ka sign I are safe. He was fighting for everybody. So how can the thing is many young people, let's be careful. This is how they literally tried to ruin Lawyer Dabo's political career with no evidence whatsoever. With no evidence whatsoever, yeah, about Trikanka accused tribalism. UDP with no evidence whatsoever, ibeng accused country kabirim party all over be. Awati nena man soto damante alonko ala prominent members of the executive ibeke mandinko ta nena man soto. But still now la. So this narrative Niko maybe it's not gonna be now, maybe it's gonna be like abe mela janna abe change la. But more cannot you don't have to ikane moment ne jile tolie. La nga fo nyama. Niko be jile niko be ite be falen ifon falen ne tolie itolta falen na purite. And at the end of the day ibine nene lale nga change ro meyalon ko is not going to be a meaningful change. Because Adam Baro jibe jam be ngalon Adam Baro en karane mena number one lesson wala nyiniko kamansa bondi doron danko doron just for the sake of it aman na fasoro because ite men fanga bondi wonyama ite me yo katabalge ke dem da ke fay ke bondi out of the picture is nothing for that man sir. Let's be factual here. It can happen very easily. Ibe mutala yete bondi after kana ibuka da wala de ye muta yela right for na muta ya tinya wonja ntal ben ye kelo ke jang jama bi ajibe nga ala jilo ala ji so reference jana kunun ko ba is it na last live video man for that was on Facebook I believe ala ji so one of the co-founders of Gambia Democratic Fund men yalan ko wolle ni coalition la fondin ni wala be kaf ñoma atara Gambia man son do ko dilala ka muta ka police wol bula ka bute ke baba me yalan ko he was part of the struggle here, a victim of police brutality. Why it and political politicians or some of them can be very heartless. But in a selection process we contribute significantly. But the National Assembly incompetence la fokanja. Jumal le keta antolom mediocrity. Kareka beke world WhatsApp group ko na yachi kay ko bara elected positional deal. But ala competency mo jibe ala National Assembly jibe mo jale ka angale kan fonoje aka correct. Dama fa angale kan wala mu kan kumare hote bari ngamello wala nyindo ngan standard lelo na society kono. Yala mbadi ngol men fana yala ko ka kan defo be kan ko nyindo baka mbejel. Ka kam na kan karang mba ko do bak. Bari to nyamo kilinete ninga nimbe kamenda nga karamolo nko ngara nimmen tara nyin karamola mbe education on na metric system mbe karam nyi mba sute kan ni wala men karanda ni men mankara mba sute la ni wala fo dol bu kata saudi ka karanje so momo fanandara karamo mbe ñoo jibe la ni wala karamo be ñoo kan nyame kan ñoo nyanta ñoo rank la wala nyanga nyanta ñoo sute la wala nyam so ni responsibility na men yalan ko karana kulam utala ngadi karana la bar karana fana me integrity soro de bar wol jama fana me integrity soro wol be tara dere ne mebi kan ngomale o mam molu long nkana wol tuje ka fay mam molu long be ngomarin ne e bu kata social media e bu kata WhatsApp group o wuro la bar men kata wuri abe WhatsApp la adanda grade 5 adanda grade 9 adanda grade 12 ama exam of grade 12 no pass no credit all pass namanke passed wol be be National Assembly National Assembly nga mo dol yije National Assembly dol bije mina membal bije mina ko because on diamla because ita angale kan folano dol bije they insist on it mo be kalon ko ma angale kan moy But what I'm trying to say here is, are you not even abusing those people? Ni wol tata ye ñu million wala motola. Ito ko wala blame. Wole ñu million wala motola. Gameno la kodo.
Nake wa banyade.
Abe jare.
Nga ebe min fogan tonya. Governor konse mood no le domoni after
No, go ahead.
Yeah, coming for is something true, you know. Very important, you know, ika topic coming for you know. Because ya lon ko ite mo tano la ko ya ke place auto mi alon ka mon place on long, you know, o sifal to tenting walantol Gambia no batandi.
Exactly.
Because kaito nyini wala kaito nyini tuwabu du kona jang kaito le important abeti.
Exactly.
Tuwabu be mutale be fair anything be fair nya but kaito nyini no be nin kaito nyini be bulo kona ite fair no la. So Africa, you know, abe wala nyamo mo jamal be Africa buka understand ko kaito nyini adiamo si adale rek.
Yeah, adiamo sa niya mo sifal sambaje. Ya wana sane nin corruption o kere institutional do. Nkana fombo mo kire tala ke blame.
Wala mto na.
Blame no because itel fombo ka long. Ya wana sane. Let me shock you. Nigerian Safri, let me shock you. Lani sana la testimony man fo yala male commission.
Mbe prison no kono like detention center mbe wala kono.
Mbe prison there.
No mbe detention center la kono, you know, for 2 weeks signed then, you know.
Obula why?
Yeah, mbe wala kono, you know.
Sorry,
why
man.
Why mbe fintila, you know. Nalone ko come like, you know, it will be mean be santo tende jamal be je ko wuli ale fo, you know.
Ebe bangu jumala.
Non ta fola because yalone. Nalone be munke kang but detention center mbe wala kono.
Okay, don't worry. So left a man for no Niela Nisana la testimony lamai. Well, no Kuna Manka bidi.
Na Rohim Malik Lole Lamoy mi alonko, you know.
Yeah, so I never can up on an London statement. Niela statement lamoye. He talked about ala coming staff will menga taraji. Like one person with the HND, higher national diploma. But in Hanata Munekera, a whole area council, ikafo ko mokilin ne HND sort. Iti amira wolbe munelanu wolte doku kela no niya wol expect ko wol nyanda fene deliver leta kela no
ita kela
the whole institution one person with a HND atoma be drop out
walam to nyati but nin kayto be bule la kayto ni yalandi tabulo kan la kayto ni mote sunyano la wala
exactly you know
wala nakuma kan wote nakeba you know mi
ala ko thank you very much
thank you so much
okay abaraka
Mbeduma mbela moy kay no.
Yeah, it's a drop no. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. You see, so this is the problem. Incompetence. Nimbe kamena nga system of bill me alon ko nko karango. Nko karango is important. Ural nga karanal somebody tayo dulal. But the other thing with regards to what is holding us back, wala nying elite salt. They try to use us. They try to brainwash us. They try to brainwash us. Like make us feel like come and go. Ale menje wondande. Alma menje wolam. Like we saw blatant corruption. Big commission wala moy. Dabo na reje Mamadou Dabo. The director of Wildlife Marketing Agency. Mind-blowing statement. Of course, that didn't come directly from him, but it was from the evidence. Ko nyilen ni sol lel fon wafinung me yalon ko ye sunyaro yalon sungo mankati. Ye ni sol wafi alila mo janade. Ye ni so wafi ni so me yalon ko itol ko mu fengoldi. Iko yere. Sorry, ko kalf. Iko nisi ndingolom. But he mistake that I wala la kilogram passive itol kilogram onye ye about 90 kilo ke dodo ye 100 and something ke kilo al ning ala tema calf o weke no 90 kilogram til nisi alpha de wol mo data ya wafi calf be kenola 200 kilogram nyadi calf be kenola 150 kilogram nyadi ye nyullel muta ye categorized as calf ye wafi as 7,000 8,000 9,000 10,000 elites want you to believe a calf weighs like 200 kilograms 150 kilogram it after it social media you defend it there. That's what the calf do and the elites do. Ika fania kele yo ka bataro kele iko ko teya defend until fuara dingoli control until we are the ones who fight all these fight ka elites will defend until laka beg hani bring social media man si inoma menu ka taraje ka tare inoma la kuma din jele lalu wol fon ka bungol lo ne fayel ika do man ni mo di men lay fanal ka do mo dal sotoje. This is what the elites do. So when Gala is coming out mulbe diamula you guys you need to listen. But they want you to believe mama de lem problem okay, let's say mama de form sungalti, let's say but left ka moy wala but say nata mo sungati say how is it possible I track it all wafi track it jalu track it tan nani anin saba mama di kura wala muta ya wafi bira ya wafi ay kodo jele soto dollars million tang akodo le arisito babulu abe central bank bulu kata ta kodo ke central bank Nindol tarakita keme tarakita talulu anin saba 157 tractors ye wala wafi ale kodo jele sodo million tang anin saba eni mamad la kodo foma nyoda tarakita keme tarakita talulu anin tarakita worawla mamad la statement la diverge le demanding baring mamad tarakita dollar wafi under value how much was it 25,000 instead of 30,000 do 10,000 difference. So but now let's say ibe nun sibanorle ibe takane ko me kara be kanila walen kan so men be checkpoint do bole wafi kan dana tambi if rather is it sibanorle wan for so me one of these places jani ko kanila if rather ye wafi ro ke fewol men be ye be wafi paret nyin tractor men fay ka for tractor technically it's not even a tractor scrap lem niaji be scrap men fanamu like coming is immobile so ite be wafi ro la ite be tambi kan kara kanila ye fewol be wafi Mamadi is the witness. He's one of our vocal voices. They want the elites. Even namol fay kan nyokane ba try kan ko form sungalti. Elites all mambete. So scrap la nyine nyintra ki to ita chikano la ya samba ando ala part sol final be man trajede. Moment sa sanno dro wala mode me yalon ka spare part wa folek. So banko be ben yamo announcement okela albe ajele announcement okela. Mon men bente bebe je. Say ni wol be nyanta tala ko teke wala modol be badu kan kanel lay and so media and other places nyanta tambila kata nyato. So nyinda manne to jam. Scrap them. Albakela nyadil. Okay, be loss of $5,000. They took it and they went forward. Purka tenten kata kanel lay. They want to make that out of they want to blow that out of proportion cover. Muhammad Fana track it all wafi under the reserve price. Context is very important in something. It is an auction of a family base and a fenkilin draw wala man samba yalonko ala value from a water bag. So idayaro laro police station odo masena paso jo lundo ko because I often have la code you have to calculate pour kana fobe yala auction of no track it ko do mai. It's not technically even for tractor from why you cannot because jorama beta bala anatano is immobile. Well, na reserve price jinni wonya, but of course if you want to be a reserve price jinni nyame it was very suspicious. But mama mo okay. Mayo ke obejele. Mayo reserve land ni natina menga reserve volk. Menga reserve price set for the for luxury vehicles and tractors and all that. O mari nyandra kasol. Alama ka farne mfakala do ngabira mano ni fa bandar I don't know because ni Gambia fon yala Gambia fon ni fon is a reminder ko banko is sick. Mama ni yolo do ko ni side yala moja le boko no men banda. Billah wallahi ta'ala go and listen to the testimony. Kilim fula ka ne akar bandar jama be fanen kelam. Sudden death. I was sharing back in Gambia. It's incredible. So they want you to believe ko Mama len suwati. But neta nyininga ite men ko Mama le sunyaro like. Ne nyininga if it were you under the circumstance, ye trakito wafi in a government auction me alon kanya dat bla lulu le mala o bla woro tiloro ibita kan kara kanela dametan ko waramal bol so ina ra sibano ye wafi ro keje kilina roje me alon ko ite fangala ata fenkela no because momang bidal so ela tambile ko nyaadi lam jumala basana mo kilo na ko ndebe nyina jono la de 5,000 below the reserve price you took responsibility and birana da commission ra manaf I take responsibility. mene trakita keme trakita talul wafine will million tan in sabanat. O million tan in sabo, they cannot account for it. Manali olo neba? They cannot account for it. Iman koloni ima fono abe mintole. Because audit am ni manke wani fala ko auditor la kuma kan wanka wala fala auditor ko nyil ko ya kodo men soto la wafir feŋol do iko ya deposit is faulty. It's very very suspicious. Ika mang soto. Il faut y recommendation ko pra ko e jibe. Ika ko e jibe. So il left a belief wala ko wala mu sungati. Jammeh assets fasi jibe. When lead counsel, former lead counsel Ahmed Bensouda, I 13 million supposedly I will discover in one of the offshore accounts, Jammeh account 13 million. Akanya wolje based on Mamali's testimony. What 13 million on lay. Bira ko ya Jammeh moto mo kabe $1 million jola je. I clear no Jammeh kabe $1 million jola je. Clear no nyine moto nyine. You know when we are asking questions, wala nang ka fale ko alkan kamfandile nal ko ngande mbam patakaji wulenke parach moltendela. But the elites want you to listen. They want you to listen or be quiet. Where is that? Batambe du musungolti. Nde Gambia political ndane mo jamata ko kelinde. Nde I've said before kabering to manko batambe du musungolti. You know why kalomena ko batambe du musungolti? Batambe du nyina Janneh Commission. Batambe du Gambian will use like a springboard. Kabering fenko be kering fengotondi Rohingya la ko be kering. Imagine, I don't know, Dolbenjibe come from Angleterre, Dolbenjibe come from Italy, Dolbenjibe come from Germany, from America. But imagine, let's say if you are from the UK, imagine what kind of case lebe sot la melanko Angleterre bita lola, Angleterre Justice Secretary nying, the equivalent of Justice Minister, wole bita lola kata in court to present on behalf of the government of the UK. How many cases like that are you going to see? Batambe duma lawyer diningol bulade. Purieta ICC. Ita Rohingya case argued. Batambe as the Justice Minister. Abe try kam purkala profile of bill internationally. Afongole tata je. Unta bring out I said it. Ngafole. Ndaka ICC. Fanda buka ICC. Ngo Batambe mo la profile ya doyale. Kata ICC. Kata case argued. Amanya natala. And end up loyal bulale itaje experience or Hana Lafan they can even hire the service of Esa by fall. Esa be Holland Janneh. Esa tita no kara ICC kara case argue. But I do al profile a bole chikakang. I Gambian call user Cabinet gente, I swear to God, men can know my buffalo they can attest to it. I've said it ko. Batambedu is taking advantage of us. Meje munana Alexander. Batambedu was very indifferent to Gambians. Momoya kanunka nyimfole. Bira diplomatic passport muta la family member la yamunavo. Alora Janneh very condescending remarks. He was very insensitive. Birakadiam. It was as if Aman Fenge, Amakala Muda, he was nada, Amanga Kubat. Batamedu. That guy does not know the ordinary Gambian come and feel. Because this diplomatic passport issue, Nimolba Fokang, ya understand. It'll understand Molka Memfo. They don't understand what people are trying to say. They don't understand what people are trying to say. Abuka Gambia, ordinary Gambian or a problem mendi. Ama understand. Ulana diplomatic passport saganying. Ama understand no. He felt like Komenko. He's been, Faka for Moleko, Nita Banku Kela, Minister Bunya, and Kripkara, Gambel and Jan Kripkara. Batamedu Tata, Rohingya case fight Kang Jana, at on the ICC. As he was doing that, Abe Gambia government, parental insult bill. Akabo le pass National Assembly pour ni président de la famille and senior government official pour y soron. Akabo loi pass kan Gambia abe Rohingya la fight kan case fight kan ICC. Mbade ñu ko fulol jibe ibela mol try kam pour que oppress Gambia que free speech abuse. Iko kata another country la sambok kitiola because ya another country la modol le ma. Until Batambe de that word landing case, Gambia understand you. Batambe understand you. Why Gambia was even getting into that? That was a very long international legal battle. I followed that case. What I'm literally it was part of my project all the time. Atadalo Bangladesh level. Bangladesh was the country many years ago because there are the elements of crime on your breakdown. The Rohingya were being pushed out of Bangkok into Bangladesh. So Bangladesh, but okay, Myanmar, Memo Rohingya Bangkok, they are not a member of ICC. You understand? So Bangladesh, Myanmar no ICC because they are not a member state. So, but Bangladesh this crime is not completed until people are successfully forced deportation, which is one of the elements of the crime of crimes against humanity. So, forced deportation, Bangladesh is not completed until you push na dunin to la Bangkok. So, therefore, Bangkok crime aketa na Bangkok. So, we are going to therefore take you to court. Myanmar sambala kiti bongol ibe ñun dol force deportation me baake ga a crime mo man complete funa ñul dana to lajan so tol fanal ndabe banko ñin kan e ndabe problème mo ñun dole so woltara wala ñama ye ko ñi samba kiti la so there was a lot of issues about the issue about jurisdiction the pre-chamber trial ako argument samba warta je back pre-trial chamber nga pre-chamber trial pre-trial chamber so birimo ko tara fo be banda after Batamedu na dadunje, but I believe Janneh Batamedu ba daduna je Gambia me ko kolitambulu. But of course we are going to deny on international donors. Ngamera bankol bi jele men yalon ko native English speaker lel muti. Wol se dadu no jele kayita ni Myanmar ko ale menkete is an international crime. Because ni Myanmar balante ko nga enforce Gambia they will not call on us. We don't have the military capacity to go after these people. You see? So this is the problem. This is the problem. Batamedu is more useless. So nte mo waje nunko mo kendolam. Kabiratu man. I never supported Batamedu's issue. Batamedu never support none man believe ko mo kendolam. Because ngajele bira sidan I had no nga admin safo I just see I used to see him like any other person. But then bring manya sifal diplomatic passport issue atara ICC jang ngajele ICC case it was always so busy abe purka international profile on you can raise them. And I was right. Another resign atara international appointment. So Batamedu kilo birabe jatile nyum kolbe du nyoto. Net Mamadi la testimony lama it became very clear. Now even if you think let's say Mamadi take Mamadi out of this bullshit. But what happened? The fact of the matter is Italy ambusola. There was indication because Batamedu was getting legal advice from the lead counsel. So lead counsel was part and parcel of this 110%. Moto Boninolaje, you can screen record and send to her. You can screen record and send everywhere in the world that you wish. The lead counsel is a central part of this question of corruption within the Janneh Commission. The lead counsel is a central part of it. The questions that are hovering over the Janneh Commission, you cannot exclude the lead counsel from it. I mean, momo bofula, what are the Marima Commission of Loka? So if people are asking questions ali day, alingadanga protest, ibe mol kila nana purka mol distract, ibe mol kila nana purka ke agent soldi, alkana worry wala. But that all tells you if just like government can all try such movements like infiltrate nyame ni mol kaje modol fanal me it all feko they are powerful ika try ka mol infiltrate wal nyama isala wala ko we are living in a very rotten society and that begs a question that was asked 60 to 70 years ago. Let's say 70 years ago there was this question that Gambia was faced with. Wala Monti, can Gambia be an independent sovereign state? And let me shock you, if you know what it is all about, that still remains a legal question, a legitimate question, whether or not Intel Paretal Purkana Banko Samba. Because covering inception, it is always the business class and the elite civil servants who have been taking us for a very long and rough ride. And it be womo kilingol lel bigi. Ebe system o melkang. Ikonkana diamu. They say we have to shut up. If we don't shut up, they're gonna send our friends to tell us to shut up. If we don't shut up, they are going to send our cousins and our brothers and our uncles to tell us to shut up. If we don't shut up, They may even go to the extra mile of trying to eliminate you one way or the other because they want you to shut up. It's the same elite. And I go back to my question, are we really ready to be an independent country? Because right now, ndeka men korosi. Wala nyindiko, Gambia fentitano when it comes to corruption investigation. You see people nga kudol corruption tawol fola jang anu nga kudol lon tawol fola jang, but I'm trying to tell you ko, even generally speaking, we cannot fight corruption. Ni ko be wandi fa investigate la, wandi fa la freno lebe dula beto. Ni wandi fa na nekete na full titinu. Ni wandi fa ko din sodo. Ha, ite wandi fa investigate la no. Momo rondin nan woti de. Abo system ko na corrupta. Ni la fa ka investigate. Na mari friend kendol sodo at the right place dron. Ibe problem on sotla. Yes. Ibe problem also. You're gonna have a problem. National Assembly lemba. National Assembly tana. And what time on serona evidence mumunedi? Janneh Commission jibe. Janneh Commission jibe. A commission that was investigated, a sanction to investigate corruption is now being investigated for what? Corruption. A commission that was set to investigate corruption is now being investigated for corruption. Mbadi ngomeka wandiba itaklima. Man la divert back Esa la court. But as Esa was being the lead counsel at the TRRC, Esa was talking behind closed doors to the president about the acquisition of a land, a private property. Bankoyin doyata bagel. Eski, I still bring this question. Can Gambia be a sovereign state? Maybe some of us will shift our energy now to that in the next 5-6 years. Maybe it is better some of us shift our attention to the Pan-African stage exclusively. Because maybe Gambia will be a much better state if we are part of a much better regional bloc or continental bloc. The Pan-African movement, or we have a massive country between Gambia, Senegal, and Guinea-Conakry. Whatever, we can give it one name. We can give it a name that we want. We can give it a name that we want. If we want, we can give it whatever name. But Gambia, can Gambia as a sovereign state move on like this, wherein corruption is almost impossible to fight? Right now, what mechanism do we have? Because the only mechanism, the most viable one right now, should be the National Assembly and the United Democratic Party. And now, I give you this task. If you sit here to talk about the corruption, the latest corruption scandals, are the members of the UDP going to be very happy with you exclusively? Especially if you start mentioning names. Are they not going to feel like they need to attack you? Are they not going to actually attack you? If you talk about corruption in the National Assembly, are you not minimizing your chances that they will not be willing to investigate the corruption scandals that you want them to investigate? But we know that they are corrupt. We know that they have a competence problem, the National Assembly. We know that. So that's why Ndekafuku. And I know a lot more. Trust me, this is why I'm struggling to say certain things. I know a lot more that I would say here. Well, maybe some of us will have to shift our attention elsewhere. Because it is almost impossible to fight corruption in that country. And because I think Yankuba is the best politician, in my opinion, especially among the young politicians. I'll give you one example from what he did. After the 2020 change, we said, 2016, sorry, 2020. After the 2016-2017 change, we said we have a new Gambia. A new Gambia wherein we're going to fight corruption, we're going to add efficiency to our game. Then we set up all these councils. Even Sirifo made some progress. Talib in KMC made some progress. I think Talib had about 100% increment from the previous year that was that Yankuba Koli and his crew were collecting. Talib doubled that in the following year. That tells you what was happening. These people are just joking at KMC. But Talib came, he doubled it. Brikama, Sirifo also made some progress. But in 2023, when Yankuba came, despite all those kind of so-called changes and reforms, and laws were passed even at this level of the central government, just to make sure that the place becomes better. At some point, Sirifo knew he was under scrutiny by the UDP people. We were pumping him and bombarding and blasting him everywhere. He upped his game. But despite all that, Yankuba Dabo came in 2023. Sirifo, the year before that, Sirifo made like $86 million in revenue. The following year, you know what Yankuba did? He came out with 156 million. Not even bothered. 156 million. And he was already in debt. He was in debt. The council was minus 10 million, I believe. Minus 10 million. He came and generated 156 million. You know how that happens? You stop the bullshit. You stop it. You think because we are close friends, or we are family, or maybe we are the same party, if you are involved in corruption, you are going home. You are paying that money. You are not just going home. You are paying that money and you are going home. That's it. Gambia no yenalo. And then the money started to come. As you could, they started their BS undermining it because of collection. And they could have made way more than that. But the revenue, so-called bullshit collectors, many along they wanted to retain the status quo. They were hesitant to collection. Anyama. Because they have, you can come up with all those things. But he stood his ground and he made a lot of money. And now, this year alone, they are already 70 million in from one sector. Last time Singareba spoke about, they've already made like 46 million. So this year they are projecting between 200 and 250 million. Imagine when he took over, they only made like 84. The previous the previous guy who was there made like 80 million, 86 million. This guy is projecting between 200 and 250, like now, this year. You think Gambia government now? Let's translate. Let's apply that to the central government, wherein checks are cancelled and they still withdraw them. Wala nankala Gala support de alal lañu different sol fay santo jana corruption am badin soto checkol me ala ngoy ka cancel e ka mute ka withdraw Gambia government leko Gambia mbadi ama easy ama easy checkol men cancel ta ke mute ke withdraw wukata jelto Gambia wukaka jelto within the central government system. Ibuka fengo ferandi mfahane buhu ibuka lo fekatara derne mek now nire kumbora ite diamoda iko ato la problemo siata wala nankale ko a united front against corruption is the only viable alliance to remove that regime, because that regime alkamenje in Gambia is based on corruption, is being retained by corruption ole mala koti. And corrupt people, they are always in an alliance. Idamali alliance lesoto. Idamali alliance lesoto. They have even alkadol passive as opposition will mula alliance or lelti. Mbe kuma kilim fola lejante motofa. The private conversation mbe go na la. Barindi mola kuyara recently. And mojama kan jibeja men be screen record le infakela funo amari la nomba bejel. Yalon. Atal me screen recording ambato lel ngay bonu so le dial pour al salon Gambia rotinta nyamende Gambia rotinta nyamen namari sonkata akonka modo affiliate ni ñu corruption la o mari be UDP nka do lel kele gang bla 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 ngay ko ndahandi mbam fata kaji momo ka corruption o kele ndeno be la le nyoka akam fato ko kam fa ko no nadi en kol nadi am den akonye ko mbadu ay video kinyana one view one slam. But we were not talking about something is of a threat or to national security or anything. I decided nkana kudoke because I'm very capable when it comes to new online goal. I video sending once view once. Niya kenye nin left a video la mbaso la barni ngala tema maki mansulala because amari anga ni nyameng alafta purun kanaje fulan jange lafta ngaje killing amala ngaje fulake manson ka record nabulaje. Because I don't want to go to bed na conscience kono fenka tarang hot kanje ko nga fen mo la feneta me alonko ay fenne kinya man la fi ngaje ko tege bari ngaje la ko tege nga mabo ndebo kata ndene mo ko tra nyula ngam pare pour sama kama bimbi dakela. But I just want to give you an example. You know what this guy I am video like kinya. He sent me a video of himself. Bagasol babul many alongo. You know, I will not be specific. But in essence, government I masakunda kono ay mindula la sotoje me alanka asudira million la akonye nyinjele akonye ko ndeta la nyinti akonye nyimuna kontra goldi akonye nyimuna kontra goldi yes akonye nyimunda la akonye hani nyul tutaja munete amenda ubatala manga hani nkayo so walatina mko alinga kari support na ronko iko young candidate lam itita woto de barito dawda dia refna ya mira ko be nyin contract civil so that damen koteke ibol to support kan because saying that's the only logical conclusion that I can come to ko ite ka candidate do men fon support askino ka support yina kama ko pour refte ka nyin contract civil ka tenden kawol so because ibe ina so ga NPP bulu corruption mo cancel de banko kan ke ba madina la molen be mo osonol de meto nya fala ke ba madina la mol na liyeji Ali Bule Dambi. Unless you put your register, don't take them seriously. Don't take them seriously. Itelle multi me yalongo sakata keba madi fon. Me yalongo adama baro kana contract ko le chikanunka diala. Me yalongo keba madi la business opportunity bulol jibe. Ala business investment o jibe before the baro government. Ala business bulol jibe Alkeba madi bulo jibe. Alkeba madi bulo jibe. Keba madi baro botane nafulol tema. Aka contract call diala. I believe in the mining industry or wherever. But ayaka emen kama wala nyinigo. Pro itolsi ke modi meyala ngo isi nafulo suro. Niye nafulo suro ebo nafulol tala ka use ka NPP sponsor. Kala pati sponsor. So yaje baro system wala nankale systemic corruption lebe Gambia. Akilo be koleala. So keba madina bonyolu, you just one example at it. You know, the Jawara guy, I'll be adding now for Sifa Membabul, right? Being after any kind of thing sponsor as a sponsor, no, being in the NPP, as in the commander in a bagasol base and Sula media, bedina, Akonyago Dazi. So not any connection from Sola, and they don't go drunk NPP la agenda push lala, or I am put on a salary every month I can din. This is what they were doing with people like Keba Madi. Keba Madi, the business all kono. Anyondo business o kono no so wala na birani NPP ko yaral kamo NPP ngol kafugo you know anen modo nin kacha do kacha hakima do akonyo ko but you know the thing is Keba Madi and his people have not been saying Gambia. What they have been saying is ntolma nyin soto. How can you take those people seriously? Anin Lamin Tura and I challenge you, our Jara pastor, come and tell us. If you want to be taken seriously, you say Gambia. But I don't look for Gambia. La pati al kafalo ntelma nyin soto. So you see where the difference is. Barola corruption. I'm not trying to attack this political party. I'm just trying to tell you how Baro is system of bill. Obankoka. So if I say Nico Baro investigate the corruption rola. Puriata from Tarakabe corruption okay and dama kolela. I banku dingo lelta drone a boten in fengol tema. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I banku dingo lelta a boten in fengol tema. Wolel bit kodo takan ka domo wolle kodo tar foy ye bunnim banda fandi yela jivol fandi saying wollel ka modol sponsor pour wole na ye join NPP wale ka NPP ngol take ka kodol dila nyanda kodol dila men la anin kila particular activity ta ka sponsor wala na NPP be yung bulol bal ni kol bela hani ya kiskisite baro tar la koma. You will be surprised. Ite bafla baro la kanyinke baro kanyinke. I know a lot more that I can say in my life le. Baro kanyuke. These are done by people many alongo. Ibute ni fengol tema. Bro, I think you need some kind of help. Can you stop posting about being in detention center? If you need help, just contact me. I can help you link with somebody. Please stop it now, please. A lot of people, I don't think it is okay. Kela problem of I understand your situation. I need a comment, but the fact that you are posting a lot, mentally. Don't worry. If you need help, I will link you with somebody who can help you. If you are here in Europe, I will help you. Yes, CD Keda and Ablai Sanya, etc. More Keba, can you please explain a little bit more? Because here told for Dama, but So this is the fact about Gambia. Ika system of built-in. Keba Marikano, Nakaloaka victimhood kumbu. Ala fai ko Keba, ite yemune kela. Keba cannot tell you anything. Keba opportunity na mole so no. He's angry. Ako jarang gol man serious. Inya kasala hey. Malom ba pala nyale sister da wondala goro. For the do man samuso inya kasala da wondala goro. Jarang kasa enable mboro. Well mbaramuso. Nga cooking lo aka même for them mala fata because nyomi they are very corrupt, so nde bugela cool ma Fabakar is the most corrupt nyomi guy baro government. I'll tell you something though. Our jaranga one of our jarangas is his engine when it comes to Abedin Silan manda fe kamoto for jam, because I don't want them to know the level of the level of knowledge we have when it comes to their government, because and as opposition is only good for us to keep observing them. But I can tell you this for free. One of the jarangas in the ministerial position or a very senior government official position, I don't want to be very specific, is very instrumental in acquiring funds for Adam Barrow and Abedin Sila construction men. Because Yaja Barrow, if you listen to, you should listen to both Lawyer Dabo and Yankuba Dabo in Farado. They were talking about the inadequacies in our health care system and all that. Kodi kuwaning problem oning mola bata living condition ola jawya banko kang. Member sab kanyinde wala nyiniko the financial indiscipline member happen kang in the system. So one of the Jaranka brothers, good that you bring him up, is the one that is helping Barrow to secure funds. Eka kodo fana collect nyame ngolonne. You understand? So wala na dollar so be devalue kan kendege, because they are asking for a lot of money, like always. Their demand for foreign currency is a lot. It's a lot. So iko kodo mentana, iko volta ika silol dogwal. But in the process, inim molel tate connivete sunyaroge. Ndelbe modol kumbo kan bi. Ko wale sunyaroge. Itel ne wala entity connivete. Mbe story do fola leja mbe coin la nyato but mbe hint la dilal. Allegedly, nga report also a very credible person, somebody with like impeccable character and expertise, no kills class. Dalbuga unknown source code. So in this person, I explained in one of ala diamolo. I believe abe ajible insinuate kan, but I'm on ka jail tof. O hana jail tof amam pare kadung into who are the owners of Ajib. But Ajib was involved in another scandal. Meng Yalongo is not yet amam fenke back. So wala na new system will be in the breakdown alva. We need an overhaul. We need a total overhaul. So ekanya sila document for one of these Jaranka brothers are involved in quarter. So that's an Gambia corruption or rampant. I can say this upcoming now because Yamira Komolta na Baralonda. People like me who are on top of the corruption game. So what they did was, it had a Kodota organization on Bulu, Malong, Ekafonya, Gambia Import Export, yeah? Stagfurla. Africa Import Export, international organization. It had a Kodo Kamana, Kodi Jammeh background. So after William and Dile, Yantaka falling, in Kodola Karola. So it had apparently, Nyumare report in allegedly they dealt directly with Ajib Bank. And then Ajib also allegedly, central bank was involved in the transaction. And according to Omarila expertise at the involvement of the central bank was illegal, one. And then the fact that Ajib Joe allegedly 10% la akonyako is also illegal. It's a corruption. In fact, there is a standard for it. The standard is 3.2% akonya maximum inyanda ka wala solo. This is an upcoming one because there are a lot of corruption scandals. So nale nyim fananja findi nang alsalongo upcoming them kami pale. Yeah, Ajib Joe 10% la inappropriate. So but it should be like 3.2% maximum ikonya jola wal. Morge wa malam pambari na mude mola kanam for ni fan yala de mom morge wala. So this is the thing. Nyilda na kodo le kamana kodo ni yana ti dalil jumal kama ya nati le pour kara silo dogu yala mbaro atiyamena na silo dogu wada malam bata winindila. So baro ben na economy ni member atinya kan science. It is partly because they are forcefully trying to acquire money anyhow they can, anyhow they don't even rest. Purka kodosoro, purka silo dogu. Ninebu Gambia government la problem mori science ande. So in the process, ku jamal kake. But in corruption scandal by development is upcoming. Upcoming them. So who are the owners of this bank? Remember them. Don't steal, don't lie. Bloody clot. Thank you so much. No Musa don't steal, don't lie. No, you know. This is it. This is the level of corruption. I still want to go back to that question that was asked 70 years ago. Can Gambia be a sovereign state? Because Tapalea siara de. Tapalea be siarin de. Nagaro be siarin de. Niko ba investigate le kata laba munela e kata ko report men ya wol famu sungolti ndela ko tinyara tan e kata corruption report men ya kata wol famu sungolti saying ngo sayite mo sungolti nte mo sungolti mbe somban ko mo sungolti nga reset mbe kalota ko sayembe banko nyembe sunyaro fayla janal. And yalla some people what they don't even understand about me is that I believe that a lot of people who find themselves in these corruption scandals deserve a second chance. Because after system overhaul most of these people we just have to forgive them. Unless many along, maybe we can set a threshold. Many 5 million and above sunya, to be honest, they deserve no chance. Or if you oversee an economic loss that is over 5 million, for example, just one first idea. This is not from somebody else. That's just me. By example, I believe maybe we can set a standard. Let's say if you directly or indirectly are involved in a scandal that is over this certain amount of money, you can never return to public service. But otherwise, the rest say forgive no, and we have a new opponent. But what I can know, atara ko mol buka song ye corruption ol menuke. You know, it is nothing. Some boy, when if I near auditor life kono iba tara ku ke mema manya na menga. I'm not gonna lie. Let me give you one case. Yalo muzingo diara borola le dina yambani twice ujala le just. Ndala twice ujala le yambani just. And that was my first time gonna twice ujala. And the man involved in kunja mesong olgona, you know. But anyway, I used to be with very mischievous people. I remember some who will even go and you know, like twice when there is rain, you know, that was my first time, and I cannot remember going back after that. You know, so this guy, you know, I was sent by somebody, obviously. I don't even know anything about somebody who I will definitely not name. Where could you go, you know? It was like an order, you know. So this was the beginning of Tubanyol. Tubanyol be start kanga, you know, kamo, you know, Tubanyol wansia. Akonyo wela kia Tubanyol mora. Nga dia kwa akonyo ya mora le. Akonyo wolo kunun kontrol taje ngasunya. Akonyo kwa diara lwa. Tubanyol diara. So dunia bole nyawa. Modole kukile. But I've seen worse things. I've seen people do things many along go. But if people see me do things, I mean, I'm going dunia betende. You understand? So it is not as if come many kuja wolke. You understand? You know, either directly or indirectly, or just because they were overseeing certain people, many alongo. You know, well, I don't want to. I don't even like to mention Landing's name. Landing, you know, did the right thing. Some of these things. In fact, I was very happy when the lead counsel told him, "You are not directly connected to any of these. We don't even have evidence that you did any of these things." But he was not being defensive about it. It happened. It happened. You can make me Alcalo today. Somebody still in my village, and they said, Wandi Kunda moy sunyaro kejelde. I cannot just come and say because it's Wandi Kunda, I will say no. I'm probably in Temambo Kalama, I was even sleeping. Maybe that person stole when I was even having some financial struggles. I was looking for money for my family. I don't have money. This idiot somehow stole some money and went and feed his family with it. So, but how is it justified for me to go and sit at the commission and go defend? The idiot stole the money. No, I'm not on YouTube live, bro. Mandra YouTube live, you know. I'm not video man get blog or post YouTube. I'm not live on YouTube. In video, I'm not sure. Yeah, I have a pro. I'm lazy like YouTube like. Yeah, I'm lazy to be. I have to like tell you the truth, man. I'm lazy back at YouTube like. And the funny thing is, that's my only monetized platform here. That's the only place I can make money. If I want to make money today, I have to go to YouTube. But for some reason, I cannot go there. So, this whole thing, you know, if you are not motivated, if you are motivated by money, I don't know, because you have to go by your conscience. Yeah, and see that, and I thought of going live. I was like, I have to go to TikTok, maybe Facebook, but I will not go to TikTok. YouTube was not even like among the priority. And that's where, as far as I am concerned, that's where the money is. I don't get nada here, except maybe I have 1 or 2 gifts here. But I've never received the money in my bank account. Me I don't got on TikTok. I've never received the money from my bank account. Me I don't got on Facebook. But YouTube, I put 3-4 videos there. I get like, you know, a very decent amount of money. I'm not gonna lie. So I will give you that many bonus. So if you are trying to do content for TikTok, any TikTok account, affiliate. Navada, funny bit at Majla, Maji, Brim, Nimol gift killer. I don't know about that one. You know, allegedly go Kodosola. But Naron Koga Purkodol. Danny. I was your big YouTube for past 2 years. Oh yeah, thank you very much for being there. You know, but I will come there. I will. I think I will settle for YouTube, because YouTube audience near likely they are like in social media. Yeah, you know, after being here for like a decade, you know, or so, I can tell you that I have a very good idea of the audience. YouTube is like that classic, you know, they are very. You know, I had to like TikTok is okay, it's good, but YouTube is like a very matured, you know, platform, you know, for responsible people, for family people. You know, if you talk to them, even with their response, you know, you can't just comment like, you know, you understand what I'm trying to say. So YouTube really, I love YouTube, man. But comment the postings and stuff like on tile. And yeah, and they are very fair to us. I don't post a lot of people money. Platform. One of my payment, for example, you know, I once got paid like up to 500 in one of what one channel over 2,000. What one channel 2,000 followers. Now I have 8,000. I got paid up to, you know, 500 in one of the months. Yeah, okay. I do share my mind with you and share a lot of important things at the comment section. Yeah, so YouTube, if you know what to do, and it's not for everybody. If you don't know what you are doing there, you're going for failure. I tell you that for free. So, but if you are consistent and you know what you're doing, YouTube is the place. The highest income earners. Let's shift a little bit, because don't be engaged in Facebook, TikTok, wol camera ko men go TikTok go ndesan sa ko ñu content creator dol ka rafania fole ba fole ni na TikTok e ba ko do so la fente jam dol jarabo len rong bar ni ko do la non te YouTube be kara lala wol ngati ya, because nga ko do nga jele nga do male nga lo na be nyame. But the person always takes me to Facebook. The person always takes me to TikTok. That is it. Person be wala nyama. Amen Jai, what do you want to say?
Wanifa even nyadi mfamo de jele life le.
Yala cool jele. Nga yala cool jele.
But TikTok, we want shower back at TikTok. Like, they can you know, Facebook, you go get TikTok there.
Ngombola boga igale them boy. Dinero from me I'm big out. At some point, you know what I'm gonna do? Yala name corruption scandal from Bayfield. I think I will have to focus on my YouTube. You know, I generate money from it. You know, Bayern Gambia corruption of Bolinjawa. Ah, all and different nga kodo, you think kodo tadi.
But say not will be told by corruption over I say from
Ah, because yalong being analysis manager nga. Kaya blado la ningang kotlin nga obstacle leji, ningang kotlin nga obstacle leji. Because at least ningela kodo sunya. You also report me to somebody member. But you gotta report me via from Suwal. Don't tell no one you're gonna say. Bila wala.
Bila Gambia kaya diamo share.
Adiamosa, but one of you can follow Njai, you can talk, then Najula family.
Non te male mun topic le fon fena because I didn't do ngaje be live ngo batonga.
Oh, okay. We talking about literally nara Gala le fojang ya nga video ni nga start ni ka kemesen na fengo play jang. Kemesen nebe nung diam gang atara nung coffee time. No play jana from YouTube. Ka mon ni mo yala mo nyola Gala what Gala is all about. So if you have a question about Gala, maybe so gonna answer no because nga video ni about. Ada from kemesen be message kan sa internet but nga video kana nga message lafta nung pray na I enjoy life.
Okay. Y'all sometimes, you know, I always somehow confused, you know, come like because we can understand, you know, come like Gambia kuja malebe ki kanje men yalong ko, you know, molse wuli no le right nim fight. But come ni ya ka killing kerek ika over relax le fanang. So
okay, can I comment here? So okay, thank you very much for that very brilliant point. So what is happening with Gala, yeah? Maybe man so Gala Benjamin corruption of credit blalmento, GFA include le Gambia Ports Authority and the Ministry of Justice yala to lenyana kanyu call from be investigate.
Ani Rosiala oil scandal.
Oil, yeah, understand. Okay, so ko be nyine be kafula nyoma listola. So ba di la barola. Ibadila Justice Ministry la and all these ministries and the GFA included. Be fenkela la tondi. Be savla. This is where it gets interesting. Near for parade. Protesting is just for 3 hours your budget. Investigation of monkey that demands. The demands is like Russia oil scandal. 2 people are found wanting. Punish them, prosecute them. You know, glado for na ports la kodome misinda. Kodo nyingale aliye suspend aliye murundi dokola. They need to be prosecuted. You understand? So the demands nima meet. That's when, because Gala structures in all the 7 regions now. So remember, we are going for a nationwide protest in demand mambe. But they don't want to jump directly to the point.
I understand, yeah.
So I think,
I understand, okay. Yeah, what is a good idea? Yeah, what's a good idea? Ninka alamale ende mare.
Ora nang ko nga fo mo le do ala difference put aside bro. Then weight put behind Gala.
Nga bankoje exactly.
Like last year no wonderful like ika wonderful je Gala. You know, we nindal be diam rajang. We can tell you some people many alongo. You know, Wolman like or may like, but will be man kumaya. Just put our differences like
that. Yeah, all personal things, you know. This is for country.
Exactly. President is not comfortable with it. That's what we thrive on. Yes. Okay. If you unless you want to say something further, then Bio, if you can comment because love a break what is it called?
Okay, Bio, nobody bunkandingo, you know.
Dabo Jula can boy Jula, is it boy Jula? Boy Jula phenomenal. Isabula no. Najula kunamo.
Yeah.
And our money in Fatuba, I think Fatuba account we investigate tale.
But last time I got for Fatuba 35,000 from Kony. What fana was scandal on you for for more included.
No Fatuba kodo malabe ebe jumala kilina. Mem meta no wo kodo mo transit.
Wo meta le you know. If I may atara for mala, I don't know. Atara through account level for Portugal or something like that. Blah blah.
Money nyimbe ba move around kana yala money laundry bol nya nibe money laundry la. Ibuka lef kodo wada nakara da my long. But anyway, it will go president la malong palace travel expenses lamba. Mo le nyanta ma ko la no some people from China. So when left Nyamoto Joro, Nyamoto Joro, the only possible option is
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Ka fote nyame ya fulu wala
account.
nyame.
Yeah, understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Foundation account. So kodo nyina after ya use. So it
Yeah.
was among kela kutime alongo. Among kutime alongo nyanda keke wala nyama. But the money was not actually her money. It was money that was meant to facilitate the president's travel through by a man of a private jet of hire to China or something like that. But one of the Chinese donors were Leo Korodila. It was improper, but yeah, I think we have an case to Nimbe Farbala Kora Nimbe Femvala Yunugo. I don't want to invoke her name here, but who was the person from above? Menga Ablai Sanyan Kolnum, Menga investigation Kolnum, Palu Jaranyule Munelong, you know, all those kind of things. So Emil, if na baraka baka, unless you want to say your concluding remark, then nobody jang Julasoro, then Gabayo Bismillah.
Yeah, Bible idea mo, Bible idea mo.
Oro Kori
Because the
Wabela.
same, I need it. Kana okay. Kana so unna.
Jula aja angara.
Okay, Julete, okay,
Okay,
diam.
ngal konto.
Nge kondom Bismillah.
Well, na mete la life na mo yalo. Wata mo din bin da famo bi yema.
Oh, okay.
And
Ite metajan.
yeah, so nka fin le wadu le ngana ko blo le mo tare. Welcome. The Gambia la corruption in general. Ninko mo ko ninga hatiyo ya ma ka atin na spigo fo muka silo no isa ko be ko exactly kan mo bari. Kaje control fond me alon control me mo yuto. Dol future fond kaje ko Gambia ni mo fond de corruption la ka proud de sa.
Yeah.
So di kaje ko kabona stand fond corruption o sembo be all.
Yeah.
Di kaje ko ni de be la te mon corroborate te fond la bad ngol le fond kaje ko te hanete de. Comme corruption o kita Gambia la c'est normal thing, comme very normal and they are very proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got proud wala la di.
Last 2 weeks I went to a guy in Netherlands here and now sometimes I feel like I'm at the wrong place in Europe because since when I was young, I was political anything from Linga from Namoleka, who you know, I think Yalama. But in this time, because Gambia, I'm serious about this. I love politics since when I was very, very young.
Listen.
And still I have passion. What I'm learning and not only you, but me alon ka manke baro la government mboko damal folo baro nga fen fe me alon ka la fata Gambia samba nyaako ko ni kel se ya gatere mari no makan bari corruption Gambia science and inform hani data sector do probably ya mbe dole fole me alon ko sembo wara du mala ko e tema kalamu o mo kule me alon ko Gambia no dole bi jele findi data banta right now maybe ni be ka kala banta e du mala ngana ngol ko we are serious about wol kono
Yeah,
men
wandi fa ande fon la fa kan number deal la yen join
mele alon
for.
koye baɗigol ye ɓe o tamala alu kono je ɗo dolale mbaɗa mele alon koye marili fistoto je tawde dola is very serious right now kaje ko mari fana ko banko tan e mantra gambe de mbaɗa gambe masa fundale e ci bari ina stati no fon mele alon ko baɗigol be bul wol damba e ba dika ɓe koɗodila wolla ni seeka mbaɗa mele alon koye marili fistoto je man connexion soto wol bul ken sawol ɓe seela ni soto so kon an ɗum ka brimo ɓen ko fandi ko ñim kulete mi alon ko min ɓe baɗu kan wala ɓe fenten kan comme ga ko ñamen ko gala ñaata sun tolɓe su dolle mol ɓen ton suutera ñaato wallahi ya because quand même fo molle nen te hansa en kan fille ko hansa en ko mbe ate wrong place le ba mi ngam mi rasko kono fanala ko me ala ko e ñanta kunke la koy rasta mo soto ji men ɓe ñaato yi baba kumbal li ɓe ñattiri molle fana be kam ya silo mo soto wo dewo ni mo jakalole atina fullinte dol mel do control tindira na kabo banko kan kana banko ni nga fo akana to sen foti bar na ko do soto gambia la karan la fanala for recommend na ran tindita pato bar ni mo mi da be bu sa no ja bare gambia la ko ni wa wata ya so mo soto ka ka mo wa mbe gambia o la men na wala sama momo be ground of FBI la ko ke ka ko ni mol makaje ko kama sa kunda jar jar ndi kay tin dila ko dol sen mo ben tol le law amante ke yeah
Baraka bag. Okay. Bayo sa bismillah.
Wanos, alim bara ba ake, you know.
Inembara.
Bela viewers who content na baba ke, you know. Kafali ku. Albe kata di ma bala. Basically kata ko.
Need to get some charge. So wala na meno while of flip lang charge plug yama.
Yeah, so basically me mem fola wala mnyindu ko. Me Gambian call kumandika. And Gambian call I believe Gambian call them more kindly. And they will keep hearing us inshallah because now Sinkamu Fennative Maya Lonko is very unique. Be more than Banko Kang Yin Lonoko Sunyaro Tap Fenle Maya Lonko is uncountable. But come for Diamlali Tilimbali Amantambi Mola Fenle Maya Lonko or Mola Maya Lonko Akahani Kasunyaroke Leptano Kono. Leptano Kondam Dian Kurantol Lekataji. O kurantol mamboro soto e malaran kendo soto doctorol melialon ko lebo do ko lo lato doctorol man even proper medicine soto pour ka jara loke e man jo kende soto e debo loptano ko no nyaton kaya ka sunyaro ka woto masakunda yoje aya dabo ni. And I want people to understand one thing, especially Mol Melialonko, we are not, Melialonko, they see some of the moves as a political move. I think if Nimbi Welante in the ruling government, I think Mbekela move follow it, Melialonko, I'll be on the ground to support this movement. If I believe in the leadership, Nata Latako, Mansakunda member seating, Ilafta Katonya, Fasale, Katapalea Kele, ka corruption or kele ne atara o mansa kundanyi be paraling wala. In fact, we are helping the government. We're helping President Barrow at some point. That is the number one thing because this is about our money. But as a president, he has to know we are creating and create kind opportunity to create kind prior legacy made. Prior legacy made. But if he doesn't calculate it or among advice Kindle sort of, he's going to lose this opportunity also. But opportunity you lose like I'm willing to go. We are not calling on the president to resign. People need to understand this one. But we are saying this call. President, we want you to take step against Nicole Milihalonko caring. If you take step against those things, Gambian call nyaje, now utuda Gambian hakile mal bulu ibe judge le nyame. You understand? And President Barrow need to understand that one. That is why this is one of the opportunities for President Barrow for him to set a good legacy. And nyato ta kindo soto. Gambian call ya faham, Gambian call ya sute. Because if you imagine the number of people, inshallah, some millimina, the amount of people they are going through sufforations. It's like we are informing the president. The president faham the andikan loka ko nima long. Until be haklo ben lega until be kalam tandilako. Ilan in department karing. Sunyaro be cake and jay. It be state house like malong, okay? But we are not telling you go sunyaro kitaje. The reports are there. We want you to take step against those reports. Even because you hate them. It's like they fail you. Italy you are the one we appoint. You are Italy muntola watchman oti. Ndoliet like a watchman, ndoliet like a jibir lati, ndoliet like a marar lati. So we expect me family left me nambe me expect kan wolo mindiko. Ite ke moti me ya lonko iben tol kawnin tala iba afasala. Ibe lo tol kan tanka tapalen tungulma kan tanka sungulma kan tanka mol memeli alon ke be banko la flo dun kan jokono mbadin gambian kolu alla si namira ban. Let us reflect our minds from 2017 kan afu nyinan na fulo jelle dun da gambia banko kan wona fulo men da gambia banko kan nin atara tapale ya man keje sunyaro man keje na karandu ya man keje bi na banko be tembo men to abetambila wala. And this is something we all need to understand. So we want, the Gambia to give birth. Gambia kuto is sort of Gambia kuto me ya longo tapale
Songo banda call le soro. Okay, who is next on the line? Maybe you can Fati kunango ido be barara. Bafode, can you go ahead? Yes, Bafode, go ahead. Bafode mambo ido ke Fati kunango Abdul Aziz ebe mo dama. Yusa men nara sa bare muso. Ni se mute no ibaje la ko. Salam alaikum folo. Ya ni se mute no rek ibaje la ko. Okay, Fati kunango ngara.
Yo alim barba ke ngamo be kontong. Ngamo be kontong.
Imbara Fati domorla.
Ayo. Kay Sanneh kundako. Allah jin kacha dia tanya bake wallahi.
Abaraka.
Kacha dia tanya bake because ngamira molnga syndrome min soto nyim banko kan wolon ko ko Musa fahamle ko banku bikata nyato sunyaro be dam because sunyaro wolon ko moye fen kambanan yewo bondije sa fenne binanan tarlaje ba fenta tarlaje yo fem tarla damin to wolon ko fembe damin moye fendo la faje yo bari teta la fala bari ba bondila je fanan ibo dulanin kense yandilale nyin kumata bakele foka understand te nene ba doku wala non dulale to yalla ka foko ñinul kay fen ko le miti ñi ma sallawol bo ñinul because ni tarta dulato say mbaj ite ko be na moleti e ko eta so ñaru ku wala e kete frame le ka jele ko no ite malla fi fenna wolle ñaale mata ite mala mimba kering e kete ke ko ko ye bembe yang city daming be mo ñing ala balu o soto woloto moro bari ke jole kete jole ni joni wo mesi tumando to isa je ya min dula do jibe bari ini mol denta fengo minna kawota ite amre komin ko ite lo modi mi yalon ko ba fututa o manke fenti mi yalon ka betiata andata banku sambala no nyato adum imbe lorin wobunda fananto a manke komin ko tolewol le mitide ye fenne understand ye fenne understand ni ye banko jibe la sam bayin fakam moye nkaye ko ni ye banko dol jibe banko dol walla taro amang meke bake komin ko Dubai manke banko de mi yalon ka develop tele long time ago yo ala development no mi ya kamana wolon ko sate dingol le sacrifice ta kela ka some sacrifice for I mean today understand ka mean today sacrifice for I mean some sorry kaje komin ko responsibility la bante bulu pour nga sate o dada kantu zaid mimbe banko nyinto ko amanke komin ko banko nyim fawon to mu hani UAE lo iyo ning sate sabol kata foka diamu wala min be kamin foy ko alga nyinke banku kilingoti hani at momin bala on leader sotolale so e baaje lo komin ko Dubai wayala leader sotole Abu wayala leader soto Sarja wayala leader soto Ajman fana wayala leader soto umul fana wayala leader soto sa betende bari ye nyole moy bari wonyo moyo fanan akoliata num bake because Rasal Khaima son num fango pour ka join bari ya demande ma fe o kabring ala main tata wota je komin ko nyin kuma te fanan nata join ta yake banku do wote ko United Arab Emirates ye min kele wolon ko kaje ko nyomoyo wasa sonia bake killing kula yaje fanan komin banko la munafam fengol ay ke fenti ko a sabatita ay ke fentimi yalon ko mo kilim mata ke akun kilim fengoti ha yalon there's a difference between moye fengota kake akunkilim fengoti ani moye ta fayaje komin konsula ta nyinnale bari ay bankole interest di ba fo komi he bari ninga nyin mine ba kala sa ha nte amin dingol ani wol fanan dingol wol be muna fan la sam so this kind of notion fenno mi yalon ka kumata bakel pons traile nganyo fahamindi wala ko amanke ko mimma ta woman lafi bara nyi miralo soto ko ninte ngata no kari fo ba soto leleba kari fanan fo ba soto leleba ndingo fo ba soto leleba ndingo fanan ndingo fo ba soto leleba ninga nyinga min faham ibina jale komin ko sate o bita nyato inewe imaje nyin sate on kamin fo atata nyato inewe fonni atara mo fa on lafta pour ka min futu e ka fella yele ye fen topoto e iteye ani lafta kamin futu mi yalan ko je dingolo yo andum ye ni yaje yi fanan ye social ol sotono kantum molle hanita pour ka bankole interest ning pour ka o tambindi so bankole interest nyata tambita drong akamta ko coming example is ni ko moy ko mina na bank account ning amang fenkeno amantano santo comme amari ni kodo sotole but the bank account is still the same. The thing is, among kujamal less sacrifice. Part of it is saving, you can understand. Part of it is investing. Part of it. So ibajalo coming will be kananene at the end of the day into the account. But if it is like every time spending them, aning kodol ket blata mi yalon ko min kake is account wo nyimbe dama ka tarawoloto coming ka bika grow. So face a fairness sacrifice. Personally, you manke banko found. Personally, human being found. Ika kudol sacrifice le for other things. Puri saja coming se kudol fanam bindino. Coming doman domangolo.
Yeah, abaraka baka fati kunanko songona rakota kenga. So one more time, then we go back to nimba for them now. We go back to Jula. Rack City Electronic for Navajane. So Songo, because the network of a signal made and Gawalan Gaman Pede Abaga. So maybe you can continue, then even interruption also. Bio. Okay, Bio is not here. Let's go back to Bafode. If Bafode, this is the second round. Now I'm gonna go. Yeah, I see that. Memo gonna very well, sir.
When the come well.
Yeah, I'm game well, Memo gonna. Memo gonna. Yeah, Bio network problem also. Okay, before this your turn again, and Namang Bang, then I will have to drop you and move on to the next. Yeah, before that I will have to disconnect you. Yes, we go to Kutama Membeja Memandia for Womo Rack City Electronic. Rack City Bisimla.
Yeah, one day for Abanyadi.
Abajara Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Major.
Like, come to Allah Katading, our Kumayarin, so Tambito and Gabla, the Faranga,
Okay, that's important.
Yeah, come to start every day, come to Antolian, businessman all day. Tajere Gathering, businessman all day, told me by Paul Fake and Domandoma, because Paul Mantra easy, and then inside a divin to be like so. Paul better friend, so the youth never can make a try be mobilized. So doing Gambia better and Tolbele. So Nanaga try Soma. Youth will be a Gambia young. Will be abroad more you'll understand. Both of all Vijay Mantrasa they can boarding and you'll be because sometimes I get from Gambian or some mil from outside. I can't know a camera from all the from 1 year or Saturday so on. So but like a youth soul will be receiving Gambia right now. So I'm very funny. be ya hita decide ko comme ça government amanke tol mam mo kon be mo muslimon le tol be brot la clean nin cool man tata ka nyama nyana ka wulle nga diam isa mbe se cool e nyama because yala sa de bel dantala so mbele be do ko kan yeah mo man tala siri mo man lesi so yala dol be ni takku wala anu dol be nyana ka level amanke ni be sa de ko nyana ka fundila sa de ko gara wondi sa de ba nyane kan je. That's not normal. Ndolbe nyana ka nyindi janda and we all have that belief that comme ça ni nga nyindi jambe wa sokla janda. So wala nan tol mbugalaf ka sim fa ta Gambia jam. But the thing is that ko be hardly more can sate kono and yalon amanya ka tawo nyama.
Yeah,
I understand. So sometimes for Gambia no for comme ça foreigner like for gana ka access ron tol for na sate ko because yeah wal ka do ko ken ka kodo soro. Ikata ya seni la sare because of
some complain ko albo son do ko
yeah nin ko be complain ko buga son do ko and woman normal because of ni nya currency change $5,000 ni de ko ni dem family man de ko bo nar la so kono wande akabane anu ngai baji be le mo jale ka $1,000 so so e de Gambia janga masia do be wala salary from one no one knows suturo le bi direct so yalla foreigner mil be bonan ni sare do ni $1,000 so samba je e wol fale wala sare la wakila ko di jamati but mol man killing dol ni na family la jam yeah $100,000 so fon be able to without a family avec problem wala so ko ni la family eta 500 yo di marché dini wala lunch man na anu ko meson so ni ko comme ça manke politique ko da manke fenti yalon I'm told be killing among tribalism code we are all the same. Gambia is a one Gambia. So Nyanaka trailer because Korea Besade Holo Meraba Kalamutaka Motijang, Hani Kodo be able Korea Kalamutaka because of your calls and Yama last time and saying it's totally different. So what am Madam Kaitan and Kolyal. So yeah, so mbadi anka comme ça mbadi businessman ol mi anko be bidiko soro so man tol be le bidiko soro but protest watu ade mota ra bidiko so man debe na bidiko close la around that time nga protest na hita ni mimbe kono ni pare na mudu bidiko nga bidiko yele nga business o continue because of yala mimbe je amanta diari so mbesi na nga hita ni nyola o cool be ol nyama so yeah.
Baraka baka mbadi yake na baka. Thank you very much.
Baraka baka.
Yeah, Bio, we can continue. Yeah, kamu da Bio isur sorole. Koreka Bio me mo igane nak. Bio, I hope you are mantra ja. Fari kunango, I think I can hear you for the last time. Then gonna program on end. Yeah, often I'm listen come back.
Yo.
Jindro dum fela sona yaram bulu ñu wato kon. Yo, abadi wala baraka baka program on mba dan na Janneh. I wish I had Sonko on a stable network, but Sonko la network come the problem all. And that is very difficult to manage in Gambia. Ade amoga siala you know. So ala baraka baka so kuda and I wish I could continue. Wana mobile man febono. I have to disconnect completely. Nana set up a be janjang. Nga mobile block. So ala baraka baka ala masuto to dia.